회장님, 오셨습니까? 고생이 많네.
Yo, what's up, guys? We have a lot to cover today. How we doing? Lone and Thriberty? What up, Cruel? What up, Tent? What up, Warcop? Huge patch notes? What up, Ravens? Yo, I want to play Staff Spear. Will I not have any healing capabilities? No, you will not have any healing capabilities. Will it work together? Not really. After seeing Spear in Korea, I don't think that Staff is going to be... We were predicting Staff was going to be a good combo for it for a couple reasons. Spear had some passives that were related to like applying weakends, and so it's like, oh, okay, that'll work well with Staff. Now that we've actually seen how it works, I don't think that Staff Spear is going to be that hot. I think it's just going to be a worse version of Staff Bow, kind of all around. What up, Light? Hold on one second, guys. Any tips for dash skills going the opposite way? You have to zoom in. It's kind of all you can do. Seemingly always when I have the perfect shot. Yeah, it's because something's in between your character and your camera, like a tree or a rock. It was happening to me a lot during Siege when I was zoomed out. You can try swapping between like action mode and classic mode, see if one of them feels better. But yeah, unfortunately, that's just kind of one of those things right now. I use action mode for my LOS attacks. Yeah, I didn't notice it being that big of a problem in action mode until Siege. And then in Siege, it was like constantly going backwards, even in action mode. What up, Jakobos? How you doing? EPH Discord was crazy this morning. Well, all my rolls are gone. I don't know what's in there anymore. All I can see is the announcements. Yeah. I can't see anything. I'm in the new Discord, though. Waiting for Tevin to spawn. Yeah, what happened with all the times? Why is everything pushed back again? Anyone know what's going on there with the schedule? New Boonstone times being pushed back 2 hours. I feel like everything got pushed back this week with no notice. Like, what are these weird... There's not normally... Bosses aren't until 2 now. This is normally a 1 p.m. boss. Like, what's... I don't know. I feel like the whole schedule got messed with. What's that about? Alright, well, we have some T1s to run. Now that we're within a 24-hour window of Spear, I'm going to be trying to farm as much dew as I can. So that's going to involve doing like 20 T1s today. Got a dentist trying to max trade it before before transferring my fully traded Juno one. Trades for a dentist are hard to get. Yeah, they're very hard to get. I had to use unlock stones for mine. Well, I mean, I didn't have to, but I did. What else was I going to use them on? They also mixed world bosses with Bristone fights. Yeah, at least that seemed unintentional. Patch notes didn't say what level of rune we are getting. Are we getting blues from the beginning? I guess so. Yeah, I mean, if they didn't say anything else, then probably we're going to be getting blues from the beginning. I don't know if those blues are going to go all the way to level 60. That would be... It's hard to describe how much work that's going to be. I really hope they don't want us doing level 60 runes right off the bat. That is going to be a big grind, and it's going to leave a lot of people behind. Like, a lot more casual players are going to get really left behind by that. Any worse than BDO gear grinds? I mean, it's completely different than BDO. BDO gear grind is like save up for months and then you RNG. There's not really, you're not really like trying to hit pan or anything. You're just doing the same dungeon over and over again until your eyes bleed. But it's not like your runes can, you know, go backwards or anything. You can't lose them. Can you talk a little bit about material transformation? I haven't read the patch notes at all, so I'm going to read them on stream. I have no idea what they say or what we're getting, other than I was on the Korean servers last night playing around with Spear a little bit, but I haven't read the NA patch notes at all. So I don't know what form of transformation we're getting. How many hours do you think you need to max out runes? For example, in BDO Pen, Blackstar can take 100 hours. That's it? Man, 100 hours was nothing when I played BDO. It was more like 1,000 hours to get a Pen Blackstar. That's funny, 100 hours. Will you be using Spear? Probably. I gotta say, I am a little less hyped now that I've actually got my hands on it. I'm a little less hyped. We're gonna play around with it a little bit. It's hard to find another weapon that it really goes well with. Which I guess maybe is a good thing. I still feel like my initial prediction that S&S Spear is going to be the king. I feel like that's still true. I'm going to try to make it work with either Dagger or Greatsword, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a little bit. S&S Spear seems really good. Yeah, I think S&S Spear is going to be extremely good. The other combinations, I just don't know about. A lot of like spear plus range weapon stuff, I don't think that turned out to be nearly as good as we were hoping. Block poison ants, this guy says. He's giving us Cave of Destruction mechanics. Why don't you save your T1 for tomorrow? You can make bank from the spear drops. From what? Just running Cursed Wasteland over and over again? I don't know if I'm going to have time. I don't know if I'm going to have time to do that. We got a lot of other things we're going to have to do. Do you think stacking enough hit will be a problem for SNS Spear? Or are you just planning on attacking non-evasion players? No. I don't think it'll be that hard to get hit. Especially if you use Shackle Spear. Especially if you're grinding your runes. People are going to be getting a lot of hit from runes now. I have the wrong build on. Pressed all the wrong keys. Did we get the new Indomitable stats? Is that in our patch? I'll go read the patch notes after this boss so I can see what's going on. The new Fortitude stat? Yeah, we got it. Yeah, I mean, that's going to mix things up too then. Greatsword is 400 to 450 hits? No. Nobody's getting 400 hit from a Greatsword. Where's that math coming from? Thanks to you, I learned tons the game. One of the honest, real people showing how to play the game for free. The patch notes out. Yeah, the patch notes are out. We're going to be going over them pretty much right now. Let me click this button and get out of here. But yeah, I mean, as far as saving T1s, like, if I run all of them tomorrow, I'll probably get one spear out of all of my runs combined. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I'd rather just have the dew ready to go and the dimensionals ready to go and everything else. Because we can turn in dimensional essence and force the spear to drop. And it's probably going to be really good to have that ready to go before the patch rather than after the patch. Alright, the call of the spear. Vital Force passive, 404 hit at 20k health. 404 hit. That sounds like twice as high as it should be. 404 hit? Let's see. Is that really how much you get? Well, yeah, I guess you do. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I know people were already playing around with like dagger spear builds that have 1400 hit though, so I think once you toss runes into the mix, it's not going to be that big of an issue. We're getting mastery to level 20. Are we? Are you guys happy about that? I just hit 16. Now we got to go all the way to 20? Ugh. Just give us the rework. Seems like Spear Dagger is the only viable for now. It has crit and procs the effect. I mean, Dagger's what? A couple hundred extra points of crit? I don't think that's the difference between it being viable or non-viable. Hope they don't make it as grindy as in KR. The dimensionals? Yeah, I certainly hope. I mean, the mastery is going to be grinding. Are they nerfing duo? They sure are, Snuff. They're nerfing duo again. Yeah, everybody wants to replace daggers with spear. Will it actually work? I don't know. I don't know. The spear specializes in exploiting enemy weaknesses for faster eliminations. Quickly crowd control and render those who stand in your way defenseless with the spear's unique abilities. Gale Rush will close the gap on any battlefield, and a well-timed javelin will finish off any foe. The spear is a powerful weapon that excels in almost every playstyle. Defense countering. Certain spear skills disable defense enemy skills for up to 6 seconds. I like how they say, like, certain skills. It's one skill that does this. It's just one skill. Why are you guys trying to oversell it? Debuff stacking. Stacking damage over time on targets to build up explosive finishers. Conditional skills. Some abilities have defensive effects when used on a friendly target. There's one skill that does this. Or offensive effects when used on hostile targets. We'll check out Spear on... I'm probably going to log into the Korean servers and play around with it a little bit once we get through the batch. Dimensional Trials. Challenge your favorite dungeons at various difficulty options. Depending on chosen difficulty, dungeons will have higher enemy stats, harder boss mechanics, and additional effects applied. Clear higher levels to contribute towards leaderboards. They can be challenged repeatedly, don't cost anything to enter. 2 dimensional trials are available each week, with the selection changing during weekly maintenance. To take on a trial, players must have cleared the 2-star dungeon of the same name at least once after this content updates. Oh, so you won't be able to just jump right in, you gotta go and do another run. The party leader chooses the stage of the dungeon enter. Probably supposed to say to enter. Party members must meet a minimum combat power to enter. The timer will not begin until players interact with the time dice inside the dimensional trials. There's no time limit to complete a level, but additional levels will be accessible based on time taken to clear one. Future dimensional trials can be initiated at higher difficulty levels. Clear additional rewards to obtain runes. Yeah, so they really don't say anything about how high the trials are going to go or how high the runes are going to go, which is a little annoying. I wish they would just tell us. It's coming out tomorrow. Aren't these supposed to be patch notes? All right. 2-star dungeon, Torture Chamber of Screams. This is a good one, boys. You guys are going to like this dungeon a lot. Everyone's going to like this dungeon, except for people who are pugging it. They're not going to like it at all. If you are pugging it, then good luck. Rune's purple go up to 80. They're not going to give us purples. They're definitely not going to give us purples. But blues going up to 60 is already extreme. It's already not going to be fun for most people to push blues to 60. The Archeum Legion, Sinister, Caligris, Torture Technician. Yeah, that's it. They don't show us anything else. It's actually such a good dungeon. There's one part of it where I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out in NA, because you have to press 4 buttons in a certain order. And in Korea, there was a huge problem with this, because people would say the order of the buttons to press, and half of the people thought that that meant, like, you press the buttons in that order, and then the other half thought that that was the order of the rooms that had the buttons that needed to be pressed. And so you had, like, 2 different techniques for solving this puzzle, and nobody could communicate about which one they were going to do. They would just yell at each other and vote kick each other. So that was fun. It'll probably be the same on NA, I assume, because our community is even more toxic and stupid than the Korean one. So I'm staff daggered. I'm not replacing my dagger with a spear. Does not make sense. They don't seem to synergize. Spear passive isn't good with staff. Yeah, I don't think staff dagger is going to be, or I don't think staff spear is going to be that popular. Now that we've actually seen it, I think that one's going to be a bust. War games, stage friendly bouts, up to 4 teams. Okay, not a lot of details here. These are very undetailed patch notes. Here we go. Let's see what they tell us about runes. Rune sockets have been added to epic grade weapons and accessories. Epic equip runes then match the type of open rune socket to a piece of gear to grant additional stats to the item. Rune synergies can be activated depending on the order of runes inserted in the item. Rune synergy effects are triggered when all sockets... Who is talking in the background? Quiet. Also, every time I log into the Korean version, it changes my NA clients into Korean. And what is happening there? Why are they... like, they shouldn't be related. That bothers me. It's spaghetti code. What else is breaking when I'm playing across the other region? We'll never truly know what other settings are getting messed with behind the scenes without my permission. Yeah, it's like they explain this in a way that only makes sense if you've already played with the rune systems. Rune synergy effects are triggered when all sockets have equipped runes matching a synergy pattern. Effects are based on the lowest tier rune equipped among all runes. Like, you don't have any idea what this means. If like these explanations, until you actually have used this system, like, you don't know what any of this is even referring to. Access and modify your runes through rune management menu. Okay, thank you for telling us that. That was helpful. So if you guys want to open the rune menu, then click the button that says rune menu. Unlock rune sockets by paying Solent and selecting the socket type. Runes must match the type of socket to be equipped. So this is good because this used to be RNG. And now you just pay Solent and you can pick the type. You used to have to spin rune hammers and you'd have to RNG the socket type and you'd have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. The attack ones were like 10% chance. Yeah, it was really bad. Once you've obtained a rune, additional runes you acquire are guaranteed to be at the same level or higher if the content, such as Dimensional Trials, provides runes of equal or higher tiers. Example, if you obtain a level 5 defense necklace type for the melee stat, all future runes acquired in Dimensional Trials for the necklace defense type melee stat will be level 5 or above. So it's kind of like the high watermark system from New World. Everybody loved that system, right? That was a very popular system. Everybody liked it a lot. Runes also have grades. The higher grades increase the maximum level limit of rune. Completing the 5th level of Dimensional Trials may award Chaos Runes, a type of rune that drops at max effectiveness with stronger bonuses, but also drawback effects. Okay. I'm kind of surprised they're putting this in right away. Only one Chaos Rune can be placed in a single piece of equipment. They will act as wild cards for activating rune synergies. I mean, that's fun. That's fun. That came a lot later in KR, so we just get it off the rip. It'll definitely make it a little more... It'll be fine. It'll be fine. The system isn't as confusing as they make it out to be, honestly. Like, you could explain this in like 2 sentences. Like, they're sockets, you put the items in, you know, the runes match the synergy gives you extra stats. It's not that complicated. Where do we get runes? You get them from the Dimensional Trials. The higher the level of Dimensional Trial, the higher your runes will end up being. Eventually. Your runes have to, like, level up in the background, though. It's really weird. I wish they would just show you. Like, at least eventually New World showed you your watermark, and you could, like, look at it, and then, you know, it was, like, number go up, and it was satisfying. But this is kind of like early New World, where it was just completely invisible, and you had no idea, like, why you couldn't get maxed out gear. So, yeah, your runes are going to be, like, leveling up in the backgrounds, and then eventually they'll max out. But you still have to run the higher level dimensionals to get the max level ones to drop, because it'll be limited to the level of the dungeon you're doing. Do you think Spear Wand will be good? More like CC debuff duration, heal type. I mean, it'll be okay. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as good as the other wand builds. I think the only really good spear combos are going to be SNS and Dagger, and maybe Greatsword. I think everything else is going to be B tier, at best. Which, you know, I always say this caveat, but like that doesn't mean it's bad. Like, B tier isn't bad, it's just not amazing. Greatsword Spear will probably be insane DPS in PvE. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to end up running in PvE. Material transformation is a new system that converts a variety of items into materials for other items. Bound equipment or runes can be fed into the transformation to increase the potential output item based on the total value of items consumed. Material transformation of equipment items can be used to create other equipment items of a grade determined by the items consumed. Material transformation of runes can be used to create new runes or rune fragments based on the total value of runes consumed. Access material transformation menu from the main menu under item selection. So this is really interesting because they're adding this without adding trait resonance, which means that using material transformation tomorrow is kind of... I'm probably going to have to make a video on this. I think this is a really bad way of doing it. I'm kind of surprised that they're doing this. I thought they were going to give us material transformation just for runes and leave the equipment part out of it. We should not be converting equipment yet. It's too early for that. So the only real real value here would be trying to gamble for a band of universal power. Because if you fully crank out a material transformation, the odds of getting a band are actually pretty good. I think it's 3% or something. Might only be 2%, but that sounds low. But I mean, you're talking about an item that's 10,000 lucent, right? How much is band going for nowadays? Maybe a little bit less now that Bellinger loot is turned back on. Yeah, I mean, Litho's still 12k on my server. What about you guys? So, what other items? When this came out in Korea, it had T2 gear in it already. I assume they're not going to give us tier 2 gear in there. So it'll be Band of Universal Power. But I don't even know, can you get the boss weapons from there? Because you can't get Arc Boss. But you might be able to get an Adentis or something. But then I don't know if it's sellable. Maybe we can check. When I log into Korea, remind me and we'll check. I suspect that you can get the Field Boss gear, but not the sellable versions of them. So it'll be Band of Universal Power and then Belt of Bloodlust. And then not a lot of other stuff that's going to be that valuable, honestly. I mean, everything else I think has pretty much come down in price, right? What up, True Seeker? You made your own chart in New World? Yeah. I think a lot of us did. We had to write down what our watermark was for each piece. Expo Spear is way more DPS. I was watching Blue test it in PvE. Yeah. Probably still not as good as Expo Bow, though, right? It might be that trait resonance stones differently now. I would check KR. You think they redid resonance over in KR, or do you think they're going to redo it for us? Also, is there an event right now? There is. Okay. Well, we'll go there in a minute. We're almost done. We're halfway done. Yeah, so if we're gonna get trait resonance as a side effect of material transformation in the future, then anything that you feed to your material transformation right now is kind of a waste. If they don't tie trait resonance to this, then you might as well just go wild. But on Korea, the only way to get, I don't know if it was the only way, but it was definitely the primary way of getting trait resonance fragments was from material transformation. It was a byproduct of it. So if everybody's blowing up all their extra gear and not getting any trait resonance from that, and then in the future they're hey, trait resonance, here you go, then you're gonna feel kind of ripped off. You're gonna feel like, man, I wish I had saved all my stuff for these resonance fragments. So yeah, I find this a little concerning. New stat, Fortitude. Main stat has been introduced. Fortitude. Increase your Fortitude stat to benefit your vitality significantly. So let's boost your base damage, magic defense, melee magic range endurance, and CC resistance. Initially, the primary route to increase Fortitude stat is through stat bonuses on spear weapons. There's also some new gear. There's a new leather set. You guys want to see it? So there is the Death Squad set, I guess. I don't know why Questlog doesn't show the set bonus to this. This actually has a pretty interesting set bonus. So the 2-piece gives you 8% cooldown reduction if you have at least 30 dex. Which is kind of funny because it's like, okay, you can't go like full strength, fortitude, tank, and still get this benefit. You have to put some points into dex, which kind of like, you know, makes it a little bit harder to pull off on tank and healer builds. But yeah, 8% cooldown for the 2-piece. And then the 4-piece is 2% attack speed for every 10 fortitude you have. So if you have 50 fortitude, you can get an extra 10% attack speed with the 4-piece set. Now, as far as the pieces themselves, that invisible line that you see there has fortitude on them. So, I mean, these are interesting. I don't know how much fortitude this has, but fortitude plus strength plus mana regen for the helmet. The chest, fortitude plus max health plus range evasion. So, I mean, if you're playing a leather build where you're really trying to push range and magic evasion, the chest and the legs are interesting. The legs have max health, magic evasion, and fortitude. It's odd, though, at the same time, because the actual benefits from fortitude are mostly endurance. So, I don't know why the patch notes say you get damage. I don't think you get damage. Oh, I see what they mean. They mean every stat gives you damage. That's what they mean. Like, every stat in the game gives you base damage. So, that's what they're referring to. They're not referring to these threshold bonuses. They just mean like every point that you put in increases your damage a little bit. But I doubt that it's much different from the other stats. They all use more or less the same formula. I think strength and perception increase both min and max, and then dex and wisdom only increase max or something like that. So it'll follow probably one of those two patterns. And then the gloves, these are interesting. Fortitude, dex, added attack speed, and plus the attack speed trait and max health. I don't actually think that there are any other. You've got the field general gauntlets that you can get attack speed on the item and attack speed as a trait. And then you can get max health on those. And then there's like a couple other pieces where you can get attack speed on the item and attack speed as a trait, where you can stack both of those. But I think the other ones don't have max health on them. It's like executioners, and then this is all T2 stuff. Yeah, Phantom Wolf, you can do it. Oh, Phantom Wolf has max health too. Okay, yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much because most of the time when you're doing this, you're doing attack speed plus double evasion. But yeah, would anyone use these over Phantom Wolf gloves? Like, they both have dex, they both have attack speed. One of them has fortitude instead of ranged evasion. Like, I don't know. I think the pieces are a bit odd. If you were gonna do this, you probably wouldn't even build it evasion, so you probably would ignore the chest and the legs, and you probably would pick up like the gloves because you wouldn't be building evasion, so you wouldn't need Phantom Wolf. Playing leather endurance just feels weird to me, though. Something about it just feels weird to me. But I guess if you're not playing a dagger build, then you can make that work. Fortitude, crit, and move speed on the boots. Yeah, you'd probably run double endurance and then cooldown speed on the mask. Probably helmet and glove if you were going to run this. I don't know if people are going to really push the 4-piece. The 4-piece is so strange. I mean, you'd be pushing like 50 or 60 fortitude probably if you did that. Because you get up to 42 fortitude just for having this set on. Now, if we take one of those pieces away, you're in like the high 30s. I don't know, you still have to invest so much. You'd have to be playing a spear with these pieces. Does Juno's Spear have Fortitude on it? I think it does. Okay, so yes, this already has Fortitude on it. So, like, how are you going to push this? You could push it to 60 if you were, like, playing Spear and you were playing with this new set. I don't think anyone's going to push it to 70. But you'd be playing, like, a tanky Spear. So you wouldn't really want the evasion because you're going to be playing this probably with an SNS if you're going this route. Like, is anyone running this with dagger? I don't know. I think it's a little... I think it's too, like, scattered. I don't think it's focused enough. What are trait resonance fragments? They're basically the resource you use to get your trait resonance, which is a system that's coming in the future. What up, Sayas? Will there be a maintenance layer? How long will it be? I don't know how long it'll be. Probably at least 6 hours. But yeah, it'll be later tonight. Will runes be able to give evasion? Yeah, runes give all kinds of stuff. So you can see for weapon, we can see the rare ones right here. Damage reduction, dex attack speed, crit damage reduction, some shield block penetration. If we look at... there. Let's throw an accessory on here. Actually, these are all just the synergies. The actual stats themselves, you can look at even more. I mean, it's like everything you can think of. Some of these, I'm trying to remember if some of these might have been added later in KR, but probably everything you see here will be available. So, like on Bracelet, you'll have CC Resist, CC Chance, Amatoy Heal. Skill damage resistance going to be probably the best one for defense. For attack, we've got heavy attack chance, which is going to be the most popular. But some people might go for hits. Is it all the same for weapon? I don't remember how much this varies from slot to slot. It's interesting that skill damage resistance is considered like a support rune. I would think that that would go under defense, because it's just like so much better than this other stuff. Unless you're a healer. I mean, skill heal is really good if you're a healer, but other than that, like, who would take sleep chance or even collision chance over skill damage resistance? Maybe some niche builds. It looks like for... yeah, I think it's kind of the same runes for weapon and for accessory. And then for defense, you'll be able to get more evasion in each one of these. It's actually so much. That's actually so much evasion. 48 evasion. So you can put two of those. You can put one of those on each weapon and then one of those on each accessory, right? So that's like 7. I forget, do cloaks have it? Okay, yeah. No cloaks. So you've got your 5 accessories and your 2 weapons. And it seems like it's the same exact pool. Do you guys know if there's any differences? I never put these next to each other 1-to-1 to compare them. Maybe a little different. The skill heal. Yeah, I don't see the skill heal there on the bracelet one. What about like ring compared to... okay, yeah, so there's a little bit of difference from one slot to another. It looks like the ring ones are similar to the weapon ones. Maybe the bracelet ones are a little bit different. But broadly speaking, you know, 90% of the stats you can get here are the same. That's like an extra 340 evasion. Only of one type, though. So, I mean, I guess it's not that crazy. But you could, if you ignored the synergies, you could make that even more, you could make that even more intense. You could put, like, evasion on every single piece and just be super tanky. But you would miss out on these synergies, which are kind of strong. Man, these level 60 runes are so powerful. I can't believe... I hope they don't actually go to 60, dude. I hope that they cap us at like 20 or 40. I really don't feel like we should be going above 20 yet. They should have just given us like green ones. These are so strong. Like what? Dude, you could get like... Yeah, you could spread these out and get like an extra like 500 magic and range evasion if you ignored your synergies. Like, do we want people to have that right now? Casuals are not going to stand a chance.
Morrow, still the best value for my bucks of all my monthly spending. Morrow 2W.
Nani, welcome back for 34. Appreciate you. How to get the rune slot on Questlog? This is the NC soft version. You just have to choose NC instead of AGS. Do people generally socket to achieve the socket bonuses or just stacking one type of rune regardless of bonus? We always just went for the resonance bonus, but our runes didn't go this high. They didn't used to go this high. They used to max out at like level 30. So now that you can push them all the way to like 60 and then the purple one's even higher, these numbers are really high. I don't know. I don't know what the meta is going to be now. There might be some cases where you actually just ignore the synergies, depending on what you're doing. If you're really trying to push, I would say like with evasion in particular, just because evasion gains so much value, the more of it that you get. Some of these other stats I don't think are really impressive enough. Skill heal is pretty unique. Like I could see healers stacking multiple multiple support runes and ignoring synergy just so they can get more skill heal. I could definitely see that being a thing. But I mean, as far as offense, like boss heavy. Okay, so like for ring, I can only get crit chance. I can't get global heavy attack chance. I can get boss heavy attack chance, but you know, nobody's gonna want that unless it's like a PvE build. It's actually kind of obnoxious though, because it creates like even more of a disparity between your PvE gear and your non-PvE gear. Wonder if there's like a list somewhere of each slot so we don't have to look through them like this. Yeah, so on weapon, you can get just heavy attack chance straight up. So I feel like the weapon attack runes have more value because of that. The fact that it's still by type makes it so that, you know, some builds, if you're playing like bow staff, that kind of sucks because you'd have to pick only one weapon, only one damage type to get it to. So you might just go for like global hit chance or global crit chance. Oh, never mind. There's a global heavy attack too. Okay, it's just lower than the other ones. All right, yeah, that's not bad. So you could go for like heavy attack on weapon or skill damage boost. I think those are both going to be pretty good. Skill damage boost might actually even be a little bit better there, depending on the builds. I think max health is always a good option for the defensive ones. And then the fact that skill damage resistance is an option for support is funny to me.
Entire Shrek movie.
Tent, welcome back for 19 months. How you doing, man? Can you take off the runes and put it on another piece if you have multiple sets? I think you can remove the runes and move them around freely, yeah. No one will be able to hit anyone. Well, some people will be building hit on their runes too, so... It's gonna add a lot more variety, if nothing else. A lot more confusion for new players who are like, what the fuck do I do? This list is so long for every single one of my items. Yeah, not the simplest system that they could have come up with. Will they be available in the auction house? Runes? No, you gotta grind them. You can't buy them. Is melee evasion range endurance build for SNS still viable for this patch once the runes, system, and spear are out? Yeah, I think melee evasion is going to be stronger than ever with the release of spear. Flash wave is getting nerfed, so range endurance isn't as necessary, but still really good. Still really strong. Still helps you with crossbow and bow players. What up, Tote? Excited for that spear? I think they're giving us too much at once, dude. This patch is too big. They should have spread it out. I don't know what I'm going to do. PoE 2 coming out at the same time. Might drop TL altogether. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, PoE 2 is coming out right when this patch comes out. Is that on purpose? And Korea, does evasion still create the scenario in PvP where you cannot hit people with melee evasion if you are a melee user? In tier 2, evasion is not as big of a deal. No, people have a lot more hit and everyone just dies faster in general. Are they going to add chaos runes aside from the first 3 runes? They did say they're adding chaos runes, yeah. Wish they would start chipping away at the ever-growing list of game-breaking bugs. Which bugs do you think are game-breaking right now? PoE 2 looks way too good. Asking PTO kind of good. Yeah, I'll probably check it out. I'm not as hyped as everyone else. It looks it looks very similar to PoE 1 to me. What up, Knock Knock? I literally run melee evasion, range, and magic endurance on my tank build, and on my SNS 1 PvP build, I destroyed peeps on Boonstone Riftstone Wars. Yeah, melee evasion plus endurance in the other 2 feels like kind of the best overall mix to me. If you can pull it off. Usually it means that you're going to have to give up stats elsewhere, though. Bro, it's just PvE MMO. Why are people so sure it will kill TNL? I don't think anyone said it's going to kill TNL. I think just a lot of people want to play PoE too. And a lot of people includes TNL players. Movement in general, targeting in general. Camera. You think movement in general is just game breaking? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Grappling is definitely broken. How'd the second siege go? Oh, it was nuts, dude. It was insane. We had to defend the whole castle with 120 people. You guys almost won again? We had to retreat back to the throne room like fairly early on. At about the 24-minute mark, we were in the throne room with just 2 guilds trying to defend. It was completely insane. We were like 5 seconds from losing for 20 minutes straight and still managed to pull it off somehow. Yeah, it was completely insane. I don't think I breathed for 20 minutes. I don't think I took one breath or blinked. Managed to stay alive for a lot of it. During that whole time period, I only took like 1 death at the beginning and then 1 death at the end. And it was like for that whole intermediate 20 minutes, I think I was alive. Because I don't even remember having to like run back into the throne. Because we had to be back from Vienta or whatever, wherever it spawns you. We had to be back in. And then it puts you outside and you have to like use the shield to run back in. And I think I had to do that once at the beginning, but I don't remember doing it that much. I was just like in the back of the room, barely surviving with like 3k health for 20 minutes straight, just trying to kill tanks and keep them off the throne. And yeah, it was completely nuts. Couldn't target anything. None of my skills worked. It's just constantly said too far away every time I tried to hit someone with a great sword. If I couldn't CC someone, I couldn't hit them pretty much. Like if they were moving at all, it was just like too far away, too far away. As a pure tank healer with 70 strength, do I have to convert all my stats to Indomitable? No. No, 70 strength is still going to be very strong. Fishing Codex? Yeah, the Fishing Codex, I posted a screenshot of this in Discord. I don't know why they didn't put a preview of it here. It looks cozy. It looks really cozy. Fishing Codex keeps track of fish you've discovered during your angling adventures and records information. Fishing Codex offers new rewards for discovering all that the waters of Silesium have to offer, including items, titles, and other fishing-related collectibles. Improvements have been made to the visual presentation of fishing locations, as well as the categorization of fishing-related inventory items. This is good, because I was just starting to get into fishing, and I was working on a fishing guide, and now they're redoing the whole thing, so I'm glad I didn't get too far on that. But yeah, the Fishing Codex looks really nice. Like, I'm surprised I didn't put a screenshot of it here. It looks super nice. Collection Codex improved the Codex interface. This looks really nice too. The new Collection Codex is way less clicks than the current one. You have to like scroll all the way down. Party invite settings added options to automatically reject party invitations from various sources. Guilds removed a hostile relationship option and list from guild relationships. I kind of like what they're trying to do with this. The whole point is to make it harder for multiple alliances to coordinate beyond the 4 guild cap. But also, I think it's going to mess with targeting. Like, not having the hostile player option for targeting is going to be weird. But then, at the same time, I think they fixed something in this patch about enemy combatants and like being in a state of war. At least they did in Korea. Hopefully they made that change in ours. We'll see if they made that change in ours. Dominion events. Joining a Dominion event now enables automatic party matching as a default behavior. Okay, maybe someone will finally use it then. Reduce the amount of Abyssal Contract token awards from completing level 20 to 40 dungeons. Okay. Was that really... that was too overpowering, huh? People were getting too much coins. Too much tokens from those level 20 dungeons. I heard that the level 20 dungeons were kicking actual low-level players because it was just like sweaty level 50s that were trying to speedrun it, which I think is so funny. Like, can't you just speedrun it whether or not there's a low level in your group? Corrected a display of guild levels and experience in guild UI. Okay, yeah, so this was getting wacky, especially when people hit level 30, this was getting wacky. That's probably what that's in reference to. Multiple corrections have been made to the schedule of in-game events to fix incorrect event times impacted by daylight savings time changes and issues found in 1.0.0 updates. Please take a moment to review your in-game event schedule. Man, daylight savings is truly the bane of Korean video game development. I've never played a Korean game that wasn't like completely burnt to the ground every time daylight savings occurred. Like months later, we're still trying to get... we're still recovering from the damage done by daylight savings. Does dagger passives give any hit? No, dagger passives give you evasion, crit damage, move speed. Some of it's conditional. What's my routine whenever I log into the game? The only routine thing that I do every day is shopping. I go to the Sundries, Contract, and Guild Merchant, and I buy out a bunch of the daily stuff. Everything else I do just is based on what events are running or what content I feel like doing that day or what tokens I have a lot of to spend. What up, Victorious? Bucky's Cup, massive W. I don't even play TNL. I just love Moro patch note streams. You think this update will get confidential do not share back? We can only hope. Gilder, when it was 19, in order to advance to 20, we needed 2 million points. Weapon mastery increased from 16 to 20. How do we feel about this? Do we like this? I was just going to use all my do on the spear. Now I've got to think about my main weapons too. Alright. Yeah, this is a big one. This is so big. Players may now initiate combat with other players in conflict mode areas with abilities rather than having to enter PvP combat through auto-attacking first. Okay, well, now I'm confused because that's actually not how this worked. You didn't have to auto-attack first. I mean, you could use abilities, you just had to use an ability before the game would consider people an enemy for the purpose of things like AoE. So I'm actually not sure if they fixed this. Did they understand what the problem was? I don't like this. I don't like the way they worded this. This is concerning to me. Hopefully what this means is that when you step into a conflict zone and you throw an AoE, it hits people. Because right now, you have to use a single target ability on someone first to enter combat, and then your AoEs will work. So, yeah, I don't really know if they've actually fixed this, but hopefully they did. Arena. Players now recover HP and mana to full at the start of arena battles. Oh, what a change. Not really sure why it was never like that, but what a good change. Dungeon Roaring Temple fixed an issue where individual players could occasionally become stuck, unable to attack King Chimera after executing one of the boss mechanics. Okay, that's probably just grappling being buggy. I feel like this is not the only place where this happens. Endurance, a partial fix. Tanks are mauling right now. A partial fix to prevent extreme low value scaling of endurance due to debuffs has been implemented, with additional stat debuff calculation adjustments coming in a future update. This temporary fix is intended to address current issues with endurance being reduced below 0 in some combat situations. Does reducing your endurance below 0 even do anything? It's probably the same as having 0, right? I feel like they're just saying this to appease people. I don't even think it actually did anything when your endurance went below 0. Would it like increase the crit that you take? I doubt it. Okay. Sounds like this is mostly still going to be a problem. Additional stat debuff calculation adjustments coming in a future update. What does this mean? Just make them stack or make them not stack. What is the calculation adjustment? I don't know what. Weird. Overly complicated. Unnecessary. Crowd control immunity. Adjusted the calculation for crowd control immunity based on the type of CC being applied and existing CC effects on the character. Collision will trigger CC immunity the fastest. Stun, sleep, and fear will cause CC immunity the second fastest. Other less common effects will trigger CC immunity at a slower rate. So it's kind of, it reminds me kind of like of how BDO did it, where stiffness counted as like 0.7 and then everything else counted as 1 CC, and once you went over 2, then you were CC immune. So you could get like stiffened 3 times, or you could get like stiffened once and then knocked down twice. Or if you just got knocked down twice, then, you know, you wouldn't even be able to get the stiffen in there. So, yeah, like, it's probably something like that. There's probably a score of, like, 3 that triggers your immunity, and, like, collision counts as 2, and stun counts as 1, and the other ones count as, like, a half or something. I wonder if it is, like, a dynamic bar, or if it's just like a hard count during that time period. Like if I stun you and then I like wait a second, is the gauge depleting, or is it staying until that period ends and then hard resetting? There's still a lot to figure out as far as how this works. I wish they would spell this out a little bit more, because my guess is that people who understand the intricacy of this system are going to have a huge advantage over people who don't. That's definitely how it was in BDO. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, probably going to be some people in Arena that are confused about why their abilities aren't working for a while. Mostly greatsword users. Sword, increase the amount of contribution gained from several abilities. Wand, increase the amount of contribution gained from several abilities. I don't know what that means. I guess they mean boss contribution? Are you getting contribution based on the ability? I always thought it was based on your damage. It's just like using a skill give you contribution? I'm reading this as we're confused. We'll fix it later, probably. Yeah, that is definitely what the endurance fix sounds like. This is big. Flash Wave, removed expanded area of damage granted by the specialization, now only increases the effective range of healing granted to allies. So the Flash Wave, a little itty bitty little ribbon now, right? Little tiny little line. Is that basically what that means? Tanks get loot now, sword increase contribution. Yeah, I guess you like get a bigger multiplier. But then, like, does that mean if I play like a DPS sword builds where I have like a ton of crit, then I'm now at an advantage? Yeah, I don't know. This is a weird way of doing it. They're trying to help out tanks. I get it. Devoted Shield added damage reduction effect. Okay. Wonder how much. Gaia Crash damage against monsters increased by 100. Alright, nice. A little bit of AoE for Greatsword. Staff, Infernal Meteor damage against monsters increased by 40. Icebound Tomb added the freeze removal effect from specialization to the base ability functionality. Can now target the caster to apply the freeze removal to yourself. Ice Armor specialization replaces previous freeze removal specialization. Ice Armor now grants cooldown reduction to Icebound Tomb. So if I have myself targeted and an enemy targeted, who does it prioritize? I've got an ability that can be used to freeze other people or to freeze myself? Or does this specialization make it self only? Serial firebombs, focus firebomb specialization, reduce the duration of the recovery effect from 6 seconds to 3 seconds. Okay. So clawing back a little bit of the buffs that staff got last patch. Still pretty good though. Wand, Ray of Disaster, damage against monsters increased by 30%. Fix an issue where Ray of Disaster VFX could remain on screen after the caster dies. UI guilds added 10 new types of guilds pens for map marking. That's neat. Chat, the text entry field can now be moved separately from the chat window. Rankings, characters that have transferred servers or deleted no longer appear on the ranking list. Okay, that's good. UI added a new ping meter that can be displayed on the UI with display options available under the settings menu. What? A ping meter. What's a ping meter? Like you can scale the size of the pings, maybe? Is that what they mean? You can turn my pings up? Max out those pings? Ping shown in a meter? Oh, those pings. I was thinking of pins. We were just talking about pins. Pings, pens. Not actually the same thing. We call them the same thing, but they're not. They're different. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Ping is in, like, lag. It's a ping that has meat. Improved R stick scroll speed so that it moves. Okay, we don't care about console. Cool. Yeah, sort of lacking in detail compared to the Korean patch notes. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe they didn't have time to translate some of it. Do we have any console players in chat? Look at all this. D-pad, L-stick, D-pad. Cool. Hate the fact they cannot do a proper patch notes. I mean, these are okay patch notes. I would really like to have gotten some more information about several of these things, though. The CC immunity, like, this is very unhelpful. We're going to have to test all this and see how it actually works. I don't know why they didn't post the screenshot of the fishing codex either. That's odd to me. I wish they would tell us what level the runes are going to go to. I mean, whatever. We'll find it. We'll find out most of this stuff tomorrow. The CC immunity, I think, is going to be the biggest one to mess with. Okay, so let me move this. And then next boss got moved back an hour for some reason. I'm going to hop over on the Korean client. And we're going to look at some stuff. I'm going to look at some things. We're starting stream early tomorrow? Yeah, I'll probably start at like 10 Pacific time. All right, give me 1 second. I got to log in. I got to go find my password. For some reason, the Korean client bugs out and does not want to save my password. Every time I try to log in, it gives me some weird error. Let's see. Hunter 2. I think I would remember that by now. Are you getting a 1018 error? It's getting that earlier. I had to change my VPN. I don't even use a VPN anymore when I log into Korea. I don't know why. I have my exit lag set to East Coast, and it just lets me log right into Korea. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Where's your brain output today? Those comments on your other video was funny. Am I not being funny enough today? Streamer, be funny. Heard we're getting Chaos Runes. Missed out on the patch. Any idea what are those? They weren't out when I played Korea. From just reading the patch, it sounds like they give you both positive and negative stats, and they count as a wild for your rune synergies. So they're probably going to be really good. If you can get some negative stat that you don't care about, you know, get like minus Amatoy heal or something. Yeah, I don't know what the options are for the minus stats, but I imagine their Chaos Runes are going to be pretty good just because of the fact that they give you that wild synergy. You're going to be able to stack certain stats that you wouldn't otherwise be able to stack. Did you ever do the arena PvP in Lost Ark when you were playing? Yeah, I did. I played quite a lot of the free-for-all one. My class was really good at the free-for-all. I had a crazy win rate in the 8-person free-for-all. And the actual 3v3, not so much. I feel like I just got owned by Sorks and the other one. The other class that owned everybody. Couldn't get close to him. Okay, so a few things that we want to look at. First of all, substance transformation. So I don't have a lot of crap in Korea. Oh, Shadow Harvester boots. But actually, I don't think we need to. I think we can check the percentages without these. We can just go here, and then, yeah, we can look. Okay. So if we go all the way to conversion tier 5, and then do a little bit of scrolling, we can find, where is it? This is all tier 1 gear. Includes the new stuff. Belt of Bloodlust. And yeah, Band of Universal Power. So they're both in there. A little bit less than a 1% chance. This has all the same gear as us, plus this new. We're probably going to get this new gear as well. So it'll probably be about the same. Looks like boss weapons are in here on Korea. So you could potentially RNG yourself into an Adentis. Now, when this says 1%, or when it says 0.8%, remember that you only have a 44% chance to get this grouping of items. So what you would do, this is conversion tier 5, which means the more stuff I put in here, the higher this tier gets. So if I put 2,500 points worth of stuff, then it goes from conversion 1 to conversion 2. Right? So that's what these are up here. So if you just throw a few items in, you know, like you can get like greens, right? Like 70% chance to get green, 30% chance to get blue. And then you always get some materials, you always get some powder, and you always get these trait resonance fragments. And this is the big one that I don't know what they're doing with this in global. I don't know if they're going to rework it. Because in my opinion, releasing substance transformation without releasing trait resonance is a big mistake. I think it's going to bait a lot of people. But regardless, we can look at... Let's look at the difference between 4 and 5. It might not actually be necessary to go to tier 4 and tier 5. Because what's happening here, if we look at the difference between tier 4 and tier 5... what it's really doing is it's shifting some of the odds away from these T1 groupings and onto the T2 groupings. So group 3 and group 4 are all T2 gear. That's not going to be in our version. So you see how all this is doing is it's shifting about 12% of your chances away from T1 and onto T2. So it's possible that ours only goes up to like conversion tier 3. Because conversion tier 3 doesn't have any tier 2 gear in it. It's either that or they would have to completely rework tier 4 and tier 5. And I don't know how they would do that because tier 4 and tier 5 already guarantee epic. So they couldn't like give you more epic. Yeah, my guess is that we don't even have tier 4 and tier 5 at all. That would be the easiest way of doing it. So you can do a tier 1 conversion. It'll be 70% green, 30% blue. Or you can do a tier 2 conversion, which will be 50% blue, and then 50% purple. And then among purple, it's split 60-40 between if you get armor or weapon. And then if you go conversion tier 3, looks like that's 30% blue. Okay, so maybe we will be able to get conversion tier 4 just to guarantee epic, but then these T2 groups will just be removed and those percentages will be shifted back over to weapon and armor. So the other thing that you can do is you can actually select the category. So now if I look in here, all the armor's gone. And so, yeah, like if we go to conversion tier 4, I've got a 92% chance to get an epic weapon, 8% chance to get a tier 2 weapon. But again, we're not going to have the tier 2. I suspect that the only conversion that will be worth doing in our version will be accessory conversion. So this will cause, if we do a tier 4 conversion and it's accessory only, and then we remove tier 2 from the equation. Yeah, okay, these are the odds that I remember. See, now we're looking at like a 3% chance to get a Belt of Bloodlust and a 3% chance to get a Band of Universal Power. So that's a 6% chance to get something really valuable out of this. I suspect that's the only one people are going to do. I think that doing armor is definitely bad. Can we think of a single piece of armor that's still worth money? I mean, you know, Shadow Harvester boots probably still like 600 lucent, but yeah, compared to getting 10 grand from an accessory, the only other thing that would be worth going for is boss weapons. But you can't get arc boss from this. You can only get field boss weapons from this. You can't get the big ones. So, you know, if I still like really needed an Adentis, what would my odds be? 2%. I could do a 2% gamble. And it looks like the item that I get here is not sellable, which makes sense. I don't remember getting sellable items doing this. So yeah, I feel like the only conversion that's going to be worthwhile for us is accessory. I mean, I guess you could go for that 2% Adentis, but wouldn't you be better off just like trying to get Belt of Bloodlust or Band of Universal Power and selling it? Because even if you get like bad accessories, you know, quote unquote bad accessories, the other 94% of the time where you don't get one of those, you're going to be getting like a clasp of the Overlord or something. Even those are pretty valuable. Like all the necklaces, a lot of these necklaces are boss only, so these still have value. The traits have value. Even the crappy ones, you know, like if you get Primal King or something, at least it's got a chance to have like max health or skill damage resistance on it. You can make some money off of that. So yeah, I think accessory is just far and above better than the other two categories. I think the other two categories are going to be total traps. And it takes the same amount to level it up, regardless of which category. Although, it does actually cost a little bit less solent to do accessory compared to doing weapon or to doing... I guess the all category is the cheapest, but yeah, I don't see any reason why you would ever convert anything other than accessory on global. I think that's how it's going to look. What up, Kings? Any surprises for you in the patch notes? A few surprises, yeah. I didn't expect them to put gear transformation into the game. I thought it was just going to be for runes. I also didn't expect for chaos runes to be added. I feel like it's a little early to be doing that kind of stuff, but does training do give 10k to both weapons? Yeah, I think so. What's the fastest way to up purple items to level 9? I'm not sure what you mean. You just click the button. Are you asking what the fastest way to get growth stones is? You can craft them using all the ores and magic powder and stuff that you get from like doing contracts and things like that. Wouldn't be worth waiting for resonance before using transformation. Yeah, Luna, that's what I was saying earlier when we were reading the patch. If they are still going to tie this to trait resonance, then spending all your gear to gamble right now feels like a big setback, because you're going to need to do so much material transformation once trait resonance comes out. So there's some people that are speculating that they're going to rework trait resonance for our version, but like, are they though? Have they really reworked these other systems? Like, they've toned them down a little bit, but I wouldn't really say they've reworked them. Like with runes, the rune system is by and large the same. The only difference is that there's less RNG than there was in Korea when it comes to your rune types. Unlocking the rune types, you just select the type now, whereas before it was RNG. But it's more or less the same system. And so with trait resonance, like, are they really going to redo it? I think it's going to be exactly the same. I think you're going to use material transformation, you're going to get the resonance fragments, and then the only difference will be that instead of having to random roll your trait resonance, you can just, they've made it so that you can just spend your trait resonance and pick the one you want. But other than that, like, I don't see any other reworks. They're not going to like develop a whole new system for global compared to KR. So how else would they do this? I know they hinted about it. Like, I think Tico hinted about it, but like, I can't think of any other way they would do it. It would require too much of a redo. Do you need all the items to slam into that thing at once? Yes. Yeah, it's got to all be... You can't, like, fill this up and then do it later. As soon as you click the convert button, this is all getting deleted, and this is getting reset back to 0, and you're going to get your result right away. You can't, like, store this up and spend it later. So, buy those bank slots. Is the Dentist Greatsword even a contender in T2? No. None of the T1 gear is still going to be relevant in T2. Because T2 gear goes to level 12. Is conversion tier the same overall categories? The odds are the same. The pool of items that you get are different. So, like, you can choose weapon, armor, accessory, or you can choose no category and just gamble everything. At Global, we don't get resonance material. Right. We're not getting resonance material tomorrow, but we probably, I mean, I would say 90% we will get it in the future. And, you know, I don't think that future's that far away. Probably next month. Probably January we'll get it. So, like, think about this. I mean, think about how expensive this is, you guys. Like, a purple armor is 1,000 points. If I want to gamble and guarantee that I get an epic item, I need 7,500 points. What are you doing over there? 1 second. All right, I don't know what that was. So I need seven epic items. Weapons are worth more, but like I need 7 epic armors to get 1 guaranteed, you know, purple conversion. So let's say that, and this is 10 resonance fragments at tier 4, which is not a lot. 10 is not that many. And I think it's more efficient the higher you go. Yeah, so 1,000 points will get me 1. 2,500 points will get me 3. 5,000 will give me 6, so that's the same ratio. 7,500 gets me 10, so now this is now a better ratio, because it's not, instead of getting 3 for every 2,500, I'm getting a little bit more than that. You know, I'm getting 10 instead of 9. And then at tier 5, 15 for 10,000 points. Again, that's the best ratio available. We're probably not going to get conversion tier 5 until tier 2 gear comes out. But let's say that it goes all the way up to conversion tier 4. This is the best option for my trait resonance fragments. Like, if I have it in my bank right now, I have probably, I don't know, 20 junk purples sitting there. As far as like items that won't sell that I didn't need for my lithograph book that are kind of just sitting there with no purpose, maybe 30. So we're looking at like maybe 4 attempts that I can make at a maxed out conversion. And that's like all my junk purples since launch. So if they release trait resonance all of a sudden in January, and it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna need to explode like 15 purple items to even have like a chance of getting resonance on one of your pieces. Like what? I mean, here, let me show you guys. I don't remember what kind of gear I've got on this character. I might have some open resonance. If we go in here, look at my helmets. So resonance conversion, it's 2 resonance stones, which is not the same as resonance fragments, to do a random conversion. It's 40 to pick what you want. And the random sucks majorly. Like, it totally blows trying to do this randomly. I mean, you can see the odds over here. Like, you hit max mana over and over again, basically, is what it's like. So, in a lot of cases, you're going to want to do it selectively. So, 40 resonance stones, I'm pretty sure that's like 400 fragments. Let me go check. It's a lot. Watch your video on Lucent Farming. You mentioned you make 5k a week by doing dungeons, abyss tokens, currency. Yesterday I burned 25k tokens and 1-star dungeons and only netted 300 Lucent. Am I doing something wrong? Blue traits are worthless now. You mentioned you made 5k a week by doing dungeons, abyss tokens, and currency. Kind of. There's more to it than that. I mean, there's a list at the end of the video that has like 8 or 9 things. It's definitely not just those. But yeah, if you do all that and you only net 300 Lucent, you're definitely doing something wrong. I mean, just one Abyss token turn-in should get you 300 Lucent. So, it sounds like you're probably missing some stuff. It also depends on what server you're on. When this drops, will the rings and Adentis prices will drop? Well, no one's going to be selling the Adentis weapons that they get. You can't litho them. The rings will come down a little bit, but I mean, people are still going to have to get pretty lucky. So, let's see. Is it not this merchant? Maybe it's this merchant. Okay, so it's 5 fragments per resonance stones. So let's say we do a conversion tier 4, and that takes 7 purples. Then that gets me enough for 2 resonance stones. So if I salvage 7 epic armors, I get to do 1 RNG attempt on 1 piece. Cool. I mean, do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like, if you burn all your gear now, then they release this in January or February, you're kind of screwed. You can explain what the trait resonance stones do? They're just bonus stats. Once you max out your traits, you unlock resonance, and it's just bonus stats on your gear. But they're RNG unless you spend a lot more, you know, like, unless you spend the full amount. So, like 40, I mean, dude, how many items is that? How many items do I have to salvage to get 40 of these? Resonance, you always go for guarantee? I mean, you don't have to, but it's just a pain in the ass. Like, this one is max health, 15%. I think max health is the one I wanted to get on this. And then magic evasion was just something I kind of like accepted. But I mean, 15% chance. So like, yeah, in theory, I could roll this 6 times. I think they might have also changed this, because I definitely don't feel like it was a 1 in 6 or a 1 in 7 chance. But yeah, like in theory, I could just do this 7 times. In theory. In practice, it certainly didn't feel that way. I definitely remember blowing over more than 40 stones. 40 stones is 20 attempts. And there were some of these pieces I absolutely did more than 20 attempts on, because you couldn't always force it. When the system first came out, you could not force these. So this select option was not a thing. All you could do was random. And some of these absolutely took more than 20 attempts, because I remember malding, trying to hit like 5% on some of these pieces. I never even finish my pants. Rip. Let's see. Didn't finish my daggers. I think I finished my staff. Yeah. Yeah, the staff. This one, I really wanted heavy attack, right? And so heavy attack is a 3.5% chance. Oh, okay. And by the way, weapons cost twice as much as armor. So, like, for this one, you basically have to spend, because, I mean, it's not even, like, it's less than a 1 in 20 chance. Even from a value standpoint, like, the RNG is just a bad option for heavy attack. And so, yeah, I spent a lot of stones trying to get heavy attack on my staff, and as you can see, I never got it. Why did they put material transformation without increasing the max level to 55 for story? Material transformation, so it shows Clay is alive. Material transformation was in the game before level 55. It's been in Korea for a while. Where were you yesterday? Stayed up all night? I was having a long day yesterday. Is Lux on an EA server? EA servers have very inflated prices. I don't know what that means. I think we might be having... Okay. My guild is having... My newly exploded guild is having a meeting, but it got pushed back, so we have more time. Is KR dead? The server seems empty. Well, I'm in the old... Nobody goes to Stoneguard anymore. In Korea, everybody is in this town, I think. But also, kind of, it's a little dead. I don't think Korea is as populated as global. But let's see. Are there people standing around in the new town? All the crafters are over here. I don't really know the new town. That's why I didn't come here. Yeah, I don't really see anyone. Does look kind of dead, doesn't it? I have no idea, like, if I'm on one of the more populated servers or not. There was a lot of people at the training dummy last night. I can tell you that much. I was trying to do some spear training dummy stuff, and all the dummies were taken. With new material transformation, what do you think the breakpoint will be in terms of extracting trait versus saving for transformation? There's no way to... I mean, that's up to you and how much you value. That's like saying, how much should I spend on my traits? I mean, do you want the trait? Like, what's your budget, you know? What's going on with Ethereum? Why are they disbanding and rebuilding? The guild leader, Alec, is leaving the game, and instead of handing Ethereum over, I think that he feels like Ethereum is his thing, and he doesn't want other people to have Ethereum, so he's like, okay, you guys make your own guild, and it can be like Ethereum, but it can't be Ethereum. Ethereum has to disband if I'm not here. I think that's kind of how he sees it. Which is not unfair. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, Ethereum kind of was Alec. It'll be interesting to see how the new guys fill his shoes. What do you think about Spear Wand? I think it'll be okay. I think all the Spear builds will be solidly okay. Oh, also true. Yeah, in Korea, it's like 2 in the morning, so. Might actually be like 5 in the morning. Moro, can you accept friend request on Discord? Yeah, I can. How long ago did you send that? All right, I'm not too far behind. Oh, jeez. My Discord friend requests are a mess. Okay, I think that's the right one. He going to PoE 2? No, he's going to real life. He's quitting the game for real life. So he's going to work on his music career and his relationships. Cringe! Am I right, fellas? Fuck all that. Break up with your girlfriend and play some more video games. Relationships are overrated? Yeah. Your job and your relationships? Huh? Huh? What a loser. Kind of an asshole view of the guilds? A little bit. A little bit. I don't know. I was thinking about that. Like, man, Alec, did you really have to disband it? You could have just passed it on. But I kind of see where he's coming from, though. Because how many years... I mean, at least since the New World days, he's been running the show. I don't actually know if he was the original founder, though. I think it might have been other people who originally made it, and then he might have taken it over. So I don't know. I don't know the full history, but I kind of get where he's coming from. But also, yeah, it's kind of dramatic. More than shouting cringe was not on my bingo card. Games with sad times are difficult for relationships. I think this is, regardless of the set time, I think that Alec has been living and breathing gaming for many, many years. I mean, he was running Ethereum and Throne and Liberty, dominating 2 different servers with half of an alliance on each server, and also dominating the Ashes of Creation Alpha with a whole another 200, 300 person org over there. I mean, the dude was living and breathing video games. I can understand why it was destroying his life. I don't even think he got to play the game most of the time. I think he was mostly just doing like politics and logistics and administration and yelling at people and shot calling and Moreland, I'm playing this game a lot, 14 hours a day. Is there any way to get money out of it? Yeah, become a famous streamer. All you have to do is get into the top 0.01% of earners on Twitch, and you'll be able to, you know, be above the poverty line. Your wife and boss play video games with you? At work? Were they supposed to release Battlegrounds? Not really Battlegrounds. They're releasing like a war game thing. It's more like pre-made Battlegrounds. They're not, you don't really queue for them. It's kind of like practice. They're releasing a thing that's like large-scale practice fights. I think they're going to drop the bunny costume with the new store update. I haven't been monitoring the bunny costume very closely. Unfortunately, I won't have any details regarding that. Okay, so Spear. I only played around with this for a few minutes last night, so I don't really know what most of this stuff does yet. I know what this one does. This one's really good. Check this out. Whee! I'm a Dragoon. That's the skill that's going to be really disruptive in large scale. But it does have kind of a brutal cast time. And I did try like doing a target switch. You know how some charge skills, you can like start charging over here and then you can switch and it'll finish the cast on whatever you switch to. So like this is really good for Focus Firebomb. Sometimes it works for Greatsword, although, you know, they both have to be standing inside of you practically. But yeah, I don't think you can do that with this skill. So I wonder how useful it's going to be in small scale. It basically, you know, it's the most telegraphed thing I've ever seen. So like in Arena, if somebody tries to do it, you're probably going to block it, but you could always use the this one? Yeah. You can always use this one right here to make sure they can't block, I guess. It's kind of funny, actually, that combo is available. 4.9 meters. Are all these 4.9 meters? It's because I have so much extra range on this build, I guess. Yeah, so if I guess I could, like, disable your block and then channel this jump on you, and you would just have to watch. But yeah, like, see how it does the purple shiny? I can't change the target. So it's, like, really obvious where you're going to jump. But I think in large scale, it's still going to be pretty crazy. Started playing this game an unreasonable amount of time in hopes that my wife would leave me, but she didn't, and now I'm just geared. Oh, well, it's always the next game. Is this KR? Yeah, it is. So get your basic attack, little pokey, and then you can follow up with an AoE. It's kind of nice. You've got your dashy skill, that you can apparently use multiple times. Invalid target. I think you have to... I think you can't use it multiple times on the same target. I think you have to do it... Yeah, it cannot be reused on the same target within 6 seconds. So, if you hit people who are already CC'd, then you, like, get extra stacks of this. If the target is bound, collision, sleep, fear, you can use the skill 2 additional times within 3 seconds. Attack speed increases by 7% for 3 seconds every time you dash. Stacks up to 3 times. The tooltips in this game are so hard to read. It looks like I can dash right off the bat, though. And then... Oh, maybe it considered the dummy CC'd. Okay. So, I guess because I feared him like half an hour ago. Well, what's going on there? Is that a bug? Alright, now I'm curious. Hold on. This is a sidetrack, but... So if I fear you, and then I wait years and years and years, and the fear wears off, do you still count as feared? No. Okay, maybe I did it fast. I must have done it fast. Or maybe it was from this? I don't think this has any kind of CC. Why did it let me double dash a second ago? I feel like it shouldn't have let me do that. So this applies burst, but it doesn't apply any kind of CC. Yeah, I don't know why it let me dash more than once. I do think it kind of sucks though, because like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna dash to someone, and then I'm gonna choose someone. See, let me do it again. I don't know why it's letting me dash a second time. But I'm gonna like click different people and dash to different people. I don't know. I don't know, you guys. If the target is bound, collision, fear, sleep, or stun status, or in the user's weakened status. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's right there. In the user's weakened status. I don't know what that means. That sounds like if it has one of your weakens on it, the user, I think the user is you. So I don't think this means any weaken. I think if you have a weaken, so they got weakens, they got a weakened burst from this basic ability. And then that allowed me to dash a second time. Okay. And so now if I had weaken on both these guys, let me wait a second for cooldowns. I don't know if the AoE applies the burst or if it's just the first hit. Okay, yeah, they both apply it. So now I can dash and then dash and then dash. I don't know. I don't know. With it, if the targeting in this game was better, it could be interesting. In most cases, I don't think it's going to be very usable. I don't think it's... in practical scenarios, I don't think like you're really going to be able to be like, oh, I'm clicking on a guy who also has my weekend, and now I'm dashing to him. Like, if it had some sort of auto target, if you could just like recast it and it would find a target that was valid, I think that would make it really fun and really flashy. But in its current state, like, really, I'm going to fucking use this game's awful targeting and try to click on someone and then recast it. I don't see that getting a whole lot of use. What do you think of Expo and Spear with weakened synergy? I don't think there is any weakened synergy. I think that's... They made the weakened synergy sound a lot better than it actually turned out to be. I don't think the weakened synergy really exists for any weapon. Action mode? Alright, let's try it with action mode. Okay, here we go. Huh! 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 I mean... maybe. The dash itself is a little slow, too. She kind of like, you know, takes a second to get there. So... I also don't have a grip of attack speed on this character. I mean, most people who are going to be playing Spear are going to have a lot more attack speed, so that'll be a little bit more fluid, but... yeah, not so sure about Storm Blitz. Let's take a look at the specializations, though. So, for Culling Arc, we can go with Flame Arc. And now it has Fire. And then, some cooldown reduction. Damage to targets with 5 stacks of Burst. Adds 1 Burst stack when Culling Arc lands a critical hits. Okay. So the burst and the flaming don't really work together. So instead of applying a stack of burst, now we're going to be applying a stack of ignites. But then other than that, I think it's basically the same rules. Yeah. Does it actually give me a description of what burst does? At 5 burst stacks, damage increases by 20%. Okay. I guess that's it. Burst lasts 9 seconds, and each stack decreases all CC resistances by 20. Stacks up to 5 times, does not reset after 5 stacks. The weakened burst effect is the same for all skills. Okay, so it shreds CC resist a little bit. 100 CC resist at maximum stacks. 9 seconds is a pretty good duration. I think people would rather just set you on fire, though. Ignite lasts for 9 seconds. Each stack inflicts 3.4% of base damage plus 15. Stacks up to 10 times. I don't know what they mean by the base damage. Is that per second or is that total? If that's per second, that's actually a lot. If it's total, it's not a lot. Explodes at 10 stacks and deals 460 base damage plus 266 to enemies within a 3-meter radius. Weaken Ignite effect is the same for all skills. So, yeah, the explosion is pretty dope. How many stacks can we get from one? Okay, so each use, it lasts a while though. Did I miss one of the first hits? So I got 2, since it hit twice, I got 2 stacks from the first hit. That time I got 0. Okay, I think I'm missing. It's because I have, this character is such a potato that she can't even hit a dummy. Brother, I have 700 hit chance. What's the problem? How much hit chance do you need to hit a dummy in this game? Okay. Well, that's going to make testing kind of annoying. You can really miss a dummy with 700 hit? I used to know someone IRL named Stormblitz. You used to? What happened to him? Okay, I don't know what's going on with those stacks. But, yeah, I suspect people are going to like the fire version of this better. Yeah, I mean, it does that damage every second. That's pretty nice. That's pretty good. Plus each stack, well, I guess either way, the stacks of Weaken would proc your passives. Spear does have some very dank passives. Let me rename this. So, yeah, let's turn this thing on. All right, so now I'll go a little bit faster when we get these weakened stacks. Let's look at the specializations for Storm Blitz. Initiative Blitz. When using Storm Blitz on a boss, immediately gain maximum attack speed stacks. Okay. PvE spec. Increases attack speed effect duration increases by 1.5 seconds. When Storm Blitz is used on party members, remove stun, sleep, bound, CC from party members, and then able to use Gale Rush 1 additional time regardless of target's conditions. So you can get the bonus dash even if they're not weakened, which is kind of cool. That might make it a little bit more of a divey skill. Do we want the extension for the attack speed? Probably. 3-second attack speed buff. That can go up to 4.5 seconds. And then your buff duration would multiply on top of that. Use Gale Rush on a party member to go to them, swing the spear, and deal 120 base damage to enemies within range, with a 70% chance to stun for 0.5 seconds. If used on a party member, the attack speed will not apply. So that seems like a much more solid use. enemies within range. What do we think that means? Probably just the regular 4-meter range. That could still be a pretty gnarly AoE stun. It's only half a second. But if you are... No, that wouldn't work. I was going to say if you're playing with Greatsword, there's the stun mastery, but I don't think that would work because you'd have the spear out for the animation, so you wouldn't get the extra stun duration from Greatsword. So yeah, that wouldn't work. So, it's interesting. Javelin Surge, this one's really good. I think this one's going to be really popular. You throw a spear. It does a lot of damage. These aren't leveled up, but 360 plus 44 for a level 1 green is very high. The max level of this is going to be pretty strong. Let me see if I can bring up the max values actually. Yeah, here we go. $570 plus 212, the max level. That's a pretty good little throw there. Distance increases by up to 4.5 times the attack range proportional to charging time. 90% chance to apply a brand for 5 seconds. Skill damage boost increases by 40 when attacking a branded target. Now, there's an add-on that makes this reduce move speed, and there's one that resets cooldown upon target death, which could be actually really fun to farm with. You're just like throwing javelins and killing stuff and resetting and doing it over and over again. I think that could actually be really good. Now, this one, you guys can read this, right? There, let me use the quest log translation. Okay, throws a spear at the designated targets to inflict damage. That's the same. On critical hit, inflicts the weakened ignite effect. Flame Javelin can only be used upon gaining the Ember effect. Ember is gained upon defeating an enemy with a spear after activating Flame Javelin trait. Is active or upon dealing damage using the Serial Explosion Strike skill. Ember stacks up to 5 times. 1 Ember stack is consumed on use. So basically what this means is that now if I take the Javelin Inferno add-on, I can only use this skill if I have a stack of Ember. And it sounds like there's only 2 ways of getting Ember stacks. I think one of them is killing an enemy and the other one is using a different skill. Let's see. Ember is gained upon defeating an enemy with a spear. After activating Flame Javelin trait is active. I don't know what that means. Hopefully that just means you have the specialization on. I don't know why I needed to throw that in. Tooltips for this game are a lot. Or upon dealing damage with a Serial Explosion Strike. So, Serial Explosion. Let's find that. I don't think it's actually called that. I think they mean this. I think they mean Explosive Fury. Let's see if this works. Okay, yeah. So I can hit someone with this, and now I have a stack of Ember. And now I can throw the Fire Javelin. And the Fire Javelin is actually pretty sick. I think it like bounces. Yeah, spreads up to 3 times to 2 random targets within 5 meter radius. Only does ignite on critical hit, though. Still. So now, how do we get more hits out of Explosive Fury, then? I guess would be the next question. So what is the normal version of this? Okay. Not translated. Stabs the target 3 times. Damage increases against monsters at 5 burst stacks. This can be reused an additional 2 times within 1 second. Okay, so that's the burst version. Now the fire version of this... Is this translated? Okay, this is translated. Swings a spear at the target, deals 250% of base damage plus 20. 2 times. I think that's the same. Yeah. So that part is the same. On critical, I wish that the tooltips for these add-ons would just give you the new effect, so you don't have to like see what changed. It's... Oh, I can't actually compare them. Okay. It just updates this tooltip, so now they're just the same. I think it's basically the same as the regular skill, except can be used up to 5 times consecutively on dealing damage, gain the Ember effect. Okay. Can you use it 5 times consecutively? Oh, I guess you can. Okay. I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, and then you can kind of like back off and throw these spears. What is the range on this thing? .6 meters. So that's probably like 12 meters base. Something like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think that's the most like enjoyable combo so far. Where to find patch notes? I don't know. I just follow their Discord and it gets put into my Discord. Javelin Spear will still be considered a melee attack. It seems like it. It seems like everything is still considered a melee attack. Best combo class with Spear. It will probably work best with SNS or Dagger. I think 70% of people go Spear. A change to Evasion Melee. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be doing melee evasion. Spear with Bow. I don't think Spear with Bow is going to be very good. No, I think that Staff with Bow is still going to just be a better option. Couldn't wait for Global to get Spear. Well, I can't try the abilities on Global. I can only try them on KR. So, I mean, I'm sitting here reading about them. We might as well see what they actually mean, because it's not like the tooltips help you understand the abilities. You have to actually try them to see how they work. I'll be right back, you guys. Alright, sorry about that. We're back. Bonus damage is the way to go with spear as primary since many hits. I don't know, maybe. I think that probably requires more analysis still. My entire kit is ranged evasion and magic evasion. Well, range evasion and magic evasion are still going to be really good for large scale. I don't think that's going to change that much. What weapon is good with spear? I think it's going to go best with dagger or SNS. Did camera freeze? What, you guys can't see me? How about now? Frozer, you're hiding under your desk? No, you'd be able to hear me if I was under the desk. I would sound like I was under a desk. Nice teleport. Okay, so this Explosive Fury Javelin Inferno combo seems like a lot of fun. I wonder who's gonna like not use these versions of the skill. The other thing is so one of the spears we're gonna get is called Shackle something. Shackle's Tentacle Spear. Damage dealt by Javelin Surge increases 15% and the projectile pierces enemies. Cooldown reset does not apply. It cannot be stacked with Javelin Inferno specialization of Javelin Surge. So if we use the new spear, we can't use that with the fire javelin that we just saw. We can only use it with the regular javelin. Now, using the spear and having this pierce enemies, I mean, it is kind of cool. Especially if you're getting kills and resetting. But then it also said that you're not getting resets, right? If you use the Shackle Spear. Shackle? Yeah, cooldown reset does not apply. I don't know. What do you guys think? I feel like it's kind of underwhelming. Kind of long cooldown. I feel like people are only going to use the fire version of this. Can you guys see a use for this? Applies a brand. I guess you could like use it to initiate on someone and get the skill damage boost. I don't know what is going on with my camera. This happens with every camera, dude. Is it OBS? Maybe it's my motherboard. It's gotta be OBS. Nani with the 5 gifteds. Diegod Combats, Kliss, Tompton, I Love Bulls, and Hezra. Welcome to the Tinfoil Brigades. Think Spear is overhyped? It might be a little bit, yeah. Audio is chopping up. Is it? Or is that just one guy saying that? Okay, we don't need to invent new problems while I'm trying to solve this one. Thank you. Give me 1 second. I think it's this USB slot. It's really annoying that OBS will not reset this camera. Bro, what? Why? Could you show the new battle pass in KR? Maybe it'll be the same when we get tomorrow. It won't be. KR is in a completely different section of the game with different materials. It won't be the same at all. Is this thing still plugged in? No. Okay. No cam today, I guess. Please combo spear with arena. That is not going to happen. Sorry, I don't have any way of doing that. Don't have the gear for it or anything like that. This is so weird. You know what else is weird? Is this used to happen all the time when I was playing the Korean version of the game and only the Korean version of the game. Alright. We're going to have to go with... refresh element with Control R. Yeah. I don't know what that means. It's not working. Do you have a PvE and PvP gear set? No, I use one set of gear for everything. Depending on how obnoxious dimensional trials are, it's possible that there will be some PvE pieces that we pick up for dimensional trials, but it wouldn't be a whole new set. It's way too much work. Okay, well, let's continue taking a look at this. So this skill right here is really interesting. Ascending Cleave. This is the stun / knockdown ability. It's kind of like AoE Stunning Blow. So it doesn't select a target. I have like an area on the ground that I can hit. So I mean, in theory... Wait, can I hit this dummy that's way over here? Or it's just highlighting because the cursor's on it. Okay. So I guess this circle doesn't actually tell me. I could probably hit both of these then, right? Yeah, okay. So pretty big AoE. And then what I don't understand is it says here that with Ascending Cleave, while jumping, use while jumping to deal 150% of base damage. Enemies within 2 range has 80% chance to apply collision prone. Use while stationary for the same effect as Abyss Cleave. So Abyss Cleave is just the regular one. Stuns targets for 1.5 seconds, which is not as long as Stunning Blow. We can extend it to 2 seconds with extended staggering. How long is Stunning Blow? Anyone have their greatsword on right now? Can you check? Is it 3 seconds? And then same thing with the prone from Ascending Slash. I think it's also, if you take the extra duration, I think it's also 3 seconds. So this is not going to be quite as much of a stun. I don't really know what it means to use while jumping. I guess that's what they're talking about. Is that a different animation? .8 and 3.2. Okay, very helpful. Where can I find Questlog with Spear? You have to look at the NC Soft version of Questlog. Yeah, can anyone think of a way that you would, or a reason why you would use Javelin Surge outside of the Inferno one? What about Vicious Energy? Let's see if there's a way to make this use without the exploding one. So the base one just hits 3 times, gives you burst stacks. At 5 burst stacks, actually, it doesn't even give you burst stacks. It just says at 5 burst stacks, it can be reused and up to 2 additional times within 1 second. So you can stab someone a lot if they have burst stacks. You could get like 9 stabs in. But the question is, how would you get to 5 burst stacks? If you did that, you would definitely take the bonus damage. Able to use Serial Strike or Brutal Strike when the designated... Oh god, these translations are so rough. Everything has a different name everywhere you look. Okay, Serial Strike or Brutal Strike. What do we think they mean by that? There's Brutal Fury right here. Serial Explosion Strike must mean Explosive Fury. Okay, so they mean able to use this version or this version when the designated target is stunned, sleep, bound, collision shock, oppressed, or terror status. I don't quite know what that means. It sounds like if we shock the target, do we get the additional hits? Kind of. So I have to target 5 times consecutively. If the target has 5 burst stacks, it can be reused up to 3 additional times within 1 second. That's a lot of additional times. So 15 hits. Can you try Spear with Wand? No, I will not be trying Spear with Wand. I'm not a wand player. Okay, that's really clunky. So it lights up as if you can use it, but you only have 1 second, and if you don't have a lot of attack speed, you can't actually get the extra cast off. Wait, there it goes. What the f... Wait, what was that? That was so much later. Was that queued up? Okay. Let me try that again. Might be seeing some funky day 1 bugs here. Okay, so I'm going to shock the target. And then I'm going to... Yeah, I don't really understand... Yeah, Explosive Fury can just be used 5 times consecutively right off the bats. Brutal Fury. If the target has 5 burst stacks, then I don't know what this means. Able to use additional Serial Strike or Brutal Strike when... Okay, yeah. So this is the 1 extra hit, different from the 5 extra or the 3 extra hits that you can get if you're at maximum stacks. I wonder how we would get 5 burst stacks. We can get a couple stacks from Culling Arc. What about Blitz? Okay, Blitz will give us some burst stacks. So we could do like Culling Arc and double Blitz. There's 5 stacks. But I don't have time to recast it. Because it's a 1 second window and the skill takes a second. So you have to have like giga attack speed to even attempt to... Why would you... No one's ever going to be able to reuse it 3 times though, no matter how much attack speed they have. I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, I can't even get it to recast once. They're saying you're going to be able to recast this 3 times? Can be reused up to 3 additional times within 1 second. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. It must just be a bad translation. This is not... Yeah. Doesn't work. I don't know. You used it twice. Don't spam the button. I don't know what that means. That's 1 use. It says unable to use yet when I try to use it a second time. Greatsword Spear or SNS Spear viable? Yeah, I think SNS Spear will be very good. Greatsword Spear, I'm not so sure about. I'm looking for ways to make Greatsword Spear work. I was skeptical about it on launch. I'm still skeptical about it, or when they announced it, and I'm still pretty skeptical. Pretty skeptical about it. Pretty skeptical. Okay, so it looks like we don't get burst stacks from this. Bloodleech Aura. This is an interesting skill. Creates an area the size of basic attack range that follows you for 5 seconds and inflicts damage and then recovers health equal to some of the damage received. You can increase the damage received and you can lower the cooldown. If you use Juno's Spear, this ability hits harder. It's like an interesting diving skill. I think that's one of the ones that's going to work really well with SNS. So, here, let's find Juno's Spear in the auction house real quick. It's maybe a setting causing it not to work. Yeah, I don't know. Upon using Bloodleech Aura, creates a flame zone that inflicts 120% of base damage per second for 5 seconds to an area in the same size. Inflicts ignite effect on critical hit. So if we use Juno's Spear plus this aura here, this will all be burning people. In addition to the regular, like, leech effect that I'm getting, the little AoE damage effect, it's also going to be burning everyone. Which is pretty cool. Kind of makes me want to play it with SNS. Just jump in and start AoEing everybody. I don't know if you heal off of the fire aura. It says that the crits will ignite people. I wonder if you could stealth with it on. Hold on, I can test that. I've got a dagger equipped. Okay, so I can hit people while I'm invisible. All right. Sunfire Cape is back. We were talking about Evelyn Sunfire Capes in Discord last night, and we were messing with this. So that's it. That's actually kind of interesting for dagger users. You can pop it and then go invis and run around. One-star Dungeon Spear not goods. I don't think it's good, no, because you can't use it with the Fire Javelin, and you also can't use it to reset. So it's like, okay, I get 1 pierce. You know, I mean, it does a lot of damage, but like on such a low cooldown, I think it seems a little underwhelming. I think the Dungeon Spear seems pretty underwhelming. The Dungeon Spear has good stats. Like, it's got hit and strength, which is really good. So I think a lot of people will use it just for the stats, but the actual passive, I don't think a lot of people are going to be hyped for the actual passive. All right, what if I stealth first and then cast it? Okay, I don't stay in Viz, but I can use it and then stealth, so that's dope. Cool. Okay, so not much else to say about that one. Reduce the cooldown by 3 seconds. And then Unyielding Sentinel. This one seems really good. Are we done with Brutal Fury? Yeah, until I can like get this to actually work, I feel like the only way to use Brutal Fury is with Explosive Fury. And then I guess, does the conditional hit make this 6 uses now instead of 5? It does not. So, oh, but probably because I need to stun first. Yeah. Okay, they gotta be shocked or scared. Nope, still doesn't work. Did the shock wear off? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That seems like that might be a waste. The conditional hit. This is such a low cooldown though, and like the fact that you can just kind of spam it over and over again, I think is pretty interesting. I could see, like, if you are going to play Greatsword Spear, I could see just replacing Valiant Brawl with Explosive Fury and just having this be like your main brawling ability, and then following it up with Javelin Inferno. So like instead of spamming Valiant Brawl on a short cooldown, like if you just need filler, you would be filling with this. It has decent range. You can kind of use it while moving. And then this has tons of range. And, you know, you can move during these animations too. So I'm liking this 2-skill combo a lot. Now, Unyielding Sentinel. CC resist, increase, 270. I think at max level this is like 400 something. After 3 seconds increases magic, melee, and range heavy attack by 88 per target within 8 meter radius up to 5 targets. So that's an extra 500 heavy attack. And then if you level that up, it's an extra 130 per target. Okay, so an extra 600 heavy attack. Like, this is what I mean, dude. This is going to be so good with SNS. It's going to be so good. Like, if you have 5 people within 8 meters of you, you could do it with Dagger 2. I think you could do it with Dagger 2. But you're just in there with an extra, it's like 700 heavy attack and an extra 400 CC resist while this is up. Lasts for 6 seconds, plus, you know, plus your buff duration. You could get this 10 seconds plus. Increased range by 4 meters. What does that mean? Like, instead of an 8 meter radius, it's a 12 meter radius? So it makes it even easier for you to get to those maximum stacks. And then Sentinel's Bastion, magic, melee, and range. Heavy attack chance increases by 130 for party members. I wonder if this gets rid of the buff for you, though. It sounds like it does. Yeah, it sounds like it kind of just turns it into a group buff. But instead of being able to stack it 5 times in yourself, now you can just give the bonus to everyone else. What's the max level of that do? It's 200. The max level of that is 200 heavy attack chance for everyone in your group. So really good for dungeons. Would you use this in PvP? I don't know. I feel like you want the selfish version in PvP. And then you can add a shield to it as well. 4,000 health shield. Dude, the more I look at this, the more it just looks like an SNS weapon to me. I mean, you pop this Giga Shield, you get a bunch of CC resist, you get a bunch of heavy attack chance, you get a bunch of extra health, you run Blood Leech Art, you're AoEing everyone, you're healing off the AoE, you're blasting everybody with Explosive Fury and then Javelin Inferno. Like, all of this works so well in like a melee bruiser spec where you have a lot of survivability already. I don't know if it works with Greatsword. I'm not really seeing a lot of stuff here that works with Greatsword. I mean, that's the only thing so far is like Ascending Cleave, aka Abyssal Cleave, like the stun, kind of. But I mean, I feel like it's just a worse version than the stun that Greatsword already has. General Spear with staff will be nice unless the build works differently. No, you're not going to be jumping in, running around with the staff. You're going to die instantly. I would imagine that Spear Dagger might have mana issues. Why that combo in particular? Do you think the bow's limit break will work with the Spear's fear skill? I don't know. Does it say that it excludes it? Cast it twice? I don't know if casting it twice is going to be the play. I'd think you would want to cast it once and then nuke, wouldn't you? Kind of like casting Flash Wave twice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because you're fearing people, they're spreading out. I think you want them to die. Like, I don't think you would want to cast it a second time in most cases, especially since you have to sit there and channel it. I have faith you'll make it work with Greatsword. I mean, I'm going to try, but honestly, I think that I'm going to make it work with Dagger, more likely. Could you go magic range evasion with an SNS Spear? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't play Arena with magic range evasion, but you could definitely play large scale SNS Spear in a leather build. Lots of spam and no mana to recoup. Well, Dagger has some mana recoup, and I mean, how mana intensive is this? Yeah, maybe. You are spending mana on each strike. Okay, Rising Slash. Hold on, I think I actually am missing my guild meeting now. I think I'm missing bosses too. One second, boys. Okay, meeting has not started yet. Can you check if you still get the heavy attack buff when you use Unyielding Sentinel? Like when you use Sentinel's Bastion, or what do you mean? It changes the whole tooltip, so I'm guessing that you do not get the bonus from the regular version when you do this. So, let's see. Resistance is here. Heavy attack chance. Okay, so now pop this. Don't get any of the resists. Got the 130 heavy attack. Yeah, so it just completely changes the skill. Just gets you the heavy and doesn't give you the CC resist. Alright, Rising Slash. Damage is applied to enemies within a 3-meter radius. Okay, let's read the regular skill first. Dashes toward the enemy. Attacks 3 times. Can be used an additional 1 time within 6 seconds. When using additional time, the last it explodes, dealing 15% more damage per burst or ignite on the target. So if you have a bunch of stacks built up already, then the second cast of this will do a lot of damage. We can make it into an AoE. Only the last hit, though. Only if we actually have stacks. We can increase the range. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, how much range are we talking? It's pretty good. It's not Shadow Strike. But it's interesting. Burst or ignite explosion damage increases by 20% per stack. So you'd have to take all this, basically, to make this skill good. You would have to build 5 stacks, and then you would have to use this kind of as a finisher. Or we can change it to Slaughtering Slash. Attack 6 times in a row, splitting the attack if there is another target within 6 meters. Each attack deals 15% increased damage per stack. Okay. Oh, okay. So if I want to be an anime hero, we can use that one, then we just jump around. I mean, it's kind of cool. So, here's what we would do. We would build up stacks with this thing. And then we would throw this and get some of the stacks spread out. And then we would do a big jumpy, and then people that had maximum stacks would explode. Except, it doesn't look like we actually got that many stacks. Yeah, it's not always igniting a lot. Wait, how many ignite stacks can you get? Get up to 9? But you only need 5, right? Does this actually explode? Okay, yeah, there is a little explosion. So you would build up Ignite with Explosive Fury or with Javelin Inferno. And then if they had 15% increased damage per stack of the user's burst or ignite. And you can get up to 9 stacks? I thought it was only 5. Hold on, hold on. Let's see what kind of damage we can get here. It's not always applying. Okay, at 9 it explodes. Oh, I didn't think about that. At 10 stacks it goes boom. Okay, that's a lot of burst. The follow-up hit is a lot of burst. Is that the best way to use it, though? Because you could just cap out your ignite stats, and that would also explode. Last it explodes, dealing 15% more damage per burst or ignite on the target. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you just get your enemy to 10 ignite stacks, and they just blow up anyways, right? Ignite lasts for 9 seconds. Each stack stacks up to 10 times. Exploding at 10 stacks deals big damage. 3 meter radius. Yeah. So I don't know why you wouldn't just go for that. I feel like you would probably just want to reach 10 stacks and have that explode. Maybe for a non-ignite builds. Although, none of the burst skills seem to be working properly right now, so I don't know how you'd be able to get a bunch of burst stacks. Okay. So, Rising Slash is a maybe. Tempest Strike. Ooh, Fury Attack. That means it does some stuns. Oh, we got a super chat. I've been lurking quite a bit here since TNL, mostly on VODs. Thank you for the explanations. You're doing a good job with it. Christopher Anderson, I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for your information on YouTube. Yeah, I'll probably try to make something more structured once I have a better grip on the weapon. But so far, I'm still... My initial guess that this was going to be mostly a SNS or a dagger weapon, I think holds true. I thought it was going to be good with staff too. I don't think it's actually going to be good with staff. I do think it's still going to be really good with dagger or SNS though. I want it to be good with greatsword, but guys, I really just don't know. I really don't know about the greatsword combo here. I think if you were going to play it with greatsword, you would definitely take Unyielding Sentinel. And this would be kind of the replacement for stealth. You would use this to sort of stay alive, but you'd have to maybe do it a little more preemptively than you would with stealth. You would have some movement, whether it's Rising Slash or Storm Blitz. Like you could replace Shadow Strike with one of these. And then the passives that you get, we'd have less crit and crit damage, but we'd have more heavy attack and attack speed and things like that. So in a way, we could swap it out for dagger. The biggest problem though is we're not going to have the dagger roll, which is really good, kind of like get out of jail free card. A lot of stealth. That thing saves me all the time. I just don't know if you're going to have the proper disengage or survivability to play this with greatsword. If I'm going to jump in with Death from Above on a greatsword, you have to ask yourself, what's the point? Like, why? Okay, I got the AoE fear, now what? Now what? I'm going to pick one person and guillotine them? Like, you see what I mean? I feel like it's just so much better when played with an SNS. Or just with other spear skills, right? Like, I feel like what's really going to happen here is you're going to jump in and you're going to start spamming Explosive Fury, Javelin Inferno, maybe one of the movement skills. Like, I don't think you would jump in and use greatsword skills. Okay, what does this Tempest Strike do? This is like a big AoE. I don't even think this one requires a target. Swings the spear while stationary to deal 150% base damage. Apply Weaken Burst. Has an 80% chance to apply Push. If the push target is stunned. If they collide with a wall, they're stunned for longer. If it hits a target affected by stun, bind, sleep, fear, or has a brand applied to the user, 80% chance to inflict collision push is applied. I don't really know what that means because it sounds like it's already supposed to be pushing you, but stun, prone, or bind. You can knock people down with this? How do you knock them down? Connects chains to the target. The chain reduces magic melee and range hit chance by 300. Has a 90% chance to apply pull and bind. Chain disappears if the target is away from you farther than 16 meters. Okay, hold on. Let's use the regular version first. Yeah, so all those people are getting knocked back and stunned, I guess. Which feels like it has limited usefulness, to be honest. But if there's one that pulls instead... Yeah, so pushes them and stuns them. I mean, the stun is nice. I don't know how I feel about the push, but the stun is nice. But this changes it. So now it doesn't push. Now it shreds their hit chance and pulls and roots. What? Is it? Does it become a single target? Okay, I mean that could be kind of cool for Greatsword. Connects a chain to... Okay, so it's... Yeah, so now it's not AoE. Connects it to one person. And then pulls them towards you and roots them. That's kind of cool, and then you could follow this up with Ascending Slash, since it binds. Shadow Strike is still better, though. I'm going to be honest, guys. Shadow Strike is still just better than this. Dang, thanks for the raids. What seems to be good weapons that will work with Spear? The more I look at this, the more I think SNS is going to be way better than anything else. I think Spear will pair well with daggers. I think you can make it work with daggers, yeah. You would choose your skills a bit differently. But I think it'll work with SNS. I think it'll work with daggers. I don't think it's going to work super well with other weapons. I think it'll be okay with other weapons. I don't think it's going to be amazing. I think I've been building Spear Dagger before I even knew it. Yeah, I think Spear Dagger, Spear SNS are going to be really good. Everything else... going to be a little mid, if I'm being honest. I'm not quite seeing the potential with other combos. Heard from Cannon saying Staff Spear is bad, there's no synergy. Yeah, I don't think it's going to go well with any of the range weapons. Like, there's nothing Spear is going to do better than Bow Staff, right? Like, what, if you drop the bow or the staff, like, what is the Spear giving you? I don't think it's... I don't think it's there. What about Longbow Spear? Same thing, right? Like, what's Longbow Spear going to do that Longbow Staff can't do better? You're a bow player, but now you can jump in? Like, is that what you want to do? Do you want to jump in? I don't know. The only real range you have on the Spear is the Fire Inferno. And in order to do this, you have to spam a melee skill to get stacks for it. So there's not a lot of range here. Like, there's not a lot of range. You have to be in melee already in order to trigger your range. Javelin Inferno code is a range attack. Yeah, Javelin Inferno has a lot of range. But again, the only way I can use Javelin Inferno is if I do this. Right? I have to use this 5 times, and then that enables me to throw 5 javelins. So I can't be back here just throwing javelins. I have to already be in the fight, spamming melee attacks, and then I can be ranged. And it's 1 throw per 1 melee attack. So, yeah, the range is not going to be a core part of this at all. The range is like a little bonus that you get after you're already set up. Most of what I see is good engagement while stacking heavy attack for big greatsword attacks, but not much to disengage. I mean, stacking heavy attack, like, where though? Where are you stacking the heavy attack? You can pop Unyielding Sentinel, and you can get a bunch of heavy attack for this. And then what? Then you're going to stand next to 5 people and do your greatsword combo? I guess. You can try. The other heavy attack that you get is just this RNG thing. On taking skill damage, chance to increase heavy attack chance. Okay. So if I'm taking a bunch of damage, I might get more heavy attack. Like 5%. Right? So if I get hit 20 times, then I get more heavy attack. So all I need to do with my greatsword is just jump in, have 5 people standing next to me while I do my combo, and then have them hit me 20 times without killing me, and then I get a little bit more heavy attack. I gotta be honest, guys, that sounds goofy as hell. No, that's just not gonna work. Just put it on an SNS. Like, literally, no shot. Just put it on an SNS. You also have ranged at spear, so maybe Expo Spear range meta can work. I think Expo Spear does have some potential, yeah, since Expo is already kind of in the mix. I think Expo Spear has some potential, kind of like Expo Greatsword have potential. I don't think it's going to be easy to play, though. Aftershock wins again. When does the whole update drop tomorrow? I hope the downtime isn't that long. I'm not sure. Servers are probably going to be up pretty early in the morning. I think they're doing the maintenance tonight. In my opinion, the spear is not the weapon you expect to deal damage like a bulldozer, finishing your enemies with full combo by yourself. It'll do scratching enemies, some AoE stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have the single target burst from Greatsword. I do think the single target damage is there, though. I think it's there. It's just not going to be, you know, you're not going to be hitting people for 16k like you do with Guillotine. But yeah, I think the single target damage is there. It's not range though. It's not range damage. You still got to be up in there. Want a spear to be main damage dealing weapon, and it can be. You can play spear with SNS and do all the damage with the spear and just live with the SNS. You could totally do that, and the damage is going to be there. It's going to be a lot better than Greatsword SNS. It's going to be a lot better than Greatsword SNS. Like, Spear SNS is going to be very good, you guys. It's going to be very good. It's just not going to be as good for single target burst. That's it. It'll still be really good at everything else. I don't think Spear Bow is going to be good. No, I don't think Spear plus any range weapon is going to be good. Except for maybe Crossbow. You think SNS Spear and Greatsword Spear are both viable? SNS Spear, definitely. Greatsword Spear, I don't know. Kind of. Unyielding Sentinel is a really good Greatsword skill. Death from Above is going to be good in any melee build. I mean, jumping in and fearing everybody is just very strong. A lot of the other skills, I don't know. You would have to, like, maybe you could make an argument for Bloodleech Aura on a Great Swords if you're playing more as a bruiser spec. I think that's how you would have to do it. You would have to play Great Sword with Bloodleech Aura, Sentinel, Death from Above. You would jump in, you'd pop your shield, you'd pop your Bloodleech. You'd have to have the Juno Spear probably to really make this work. But you jump in with your shield, you fear everybody. You do some brawling with Explosive Fury and Javelin Inferno, and you would have to give up some of the Greatsword single target. You'd probably still have Stunning Blow and Guillotine. I don't know if you have room for Ascending Slash and everything else. You probably still have Precision Dash. I think Precision Dash is still your best movement skill. Because it doesn't require a target like Storm Blitz and Rising Slash. So yeah, I think it could work. I think it can work with Greatsword. I just think it's gonna be better with SNS because you're still doing most of the damage with the spear, even if you play it with Greatsword. What is the Greatsword really doing there? Like you're using the Greatsword at that point for passives. You're using it for hit and max health. Like you're using it for the passives, and then you're using it for like a little bit more single target burst. The value seems low to me there. The value seems really low. If you had a dagger or an SNS instead, it's way more value. Way more value. The dagger passives are going to be really good with this. It's going to increase your spear damage by a ton. Stealth is going to allow you to get out after you jump in and AoE everybody. The stealth is going to allow you to get out. SNS would do the same thing. The SNS would allow you to survive after you jump in. I don't see what the Greatsword gives you here. Can anyone like tell me what Greatsword would give you here? I'm not seeing it. Greatsword Spear is like playing Greatsword. Yeah, it kind of is. You could just literally play Greatsword exactly the way that you do now, except swap out Stealth for Unyielding Sentinel, swap out Shadow Strike for Death from Above, and then play like exactly the same, right? And then you would have more attack speed. Except no, you wouldn't, because you wouldn't have the ability to apply Weaken. Okay, so here's what you do. You would drop Stealth for Unyielding Sentinel. You would drop Shadow Strike for Death from Above. You would drop Valiant Brawl or Cleaving Moonlight. You wouldn't have Cleaving Moonlight anymore. So you drop Cleaving Moonlight for Explosive Fury. And then you would drop Valiant Brawl for Javelin Inferno. So now, instead of having Cleaving Moonlight and Valiant Brawl as your filler skills, Explosive Fury and Javelin Inferno are going to be your brawling skills. This is your survivability instead of stealth. Not as good as stealth, by the way. Definitely not as good as stealth, but it will work. And it'll give you CC resist, it'll give you heavy attack, it'll give you a lot of good stuff. Death from Above. Definitely slower than Shadow Strike. People are going to see this coming and they're going to block it. But if they don't, then, you know, it's an AoE fear. Very good. You might even be able to Cataclysm them first. What else could you drop? What could you drop for Cataclysm? If I'm thinking in the context of like swapping from Greatsword Dagger to Spear Greatsword. What else could we get rid of? Da Vinci's, I guess? We could drop Da Vinci's for Cataclysm. You can't really drop any of the other Greatsword stuff. Yeah, you can't really drop anything else. Willbreaker? You could drop Willbreaker for this. Yeah, what am I talking about? You could totally drop Willbreaker for this. Okay, that's coming together. That's coming together. So it's still an assassin build, but you've got the AoE fear. You've got the ability to do a lot more AoE brawling. You've still got all your single target burst. You've still got a lot of movement. All right, it's coming together. Yeah. I think it'll be decent. At least worth trying out. Definitely at least worth playing around with. Where are you? I don't know. My OBS is bugging out and my camera's frozen. So, should I just leave it there? So hyped for Spear Staff, but it seems lackluster. Why though? The reason it was hyped is because they were saying that Spear was going to have passives that buff you when you weaken, and it does. It does have that. You get attack speed when you apply weaken, but you absolutely don't need staff weakens to max this out. Like you apply so many weakens with the Spear by itself that the staff is just totally redundant. It's not needed at all. Spear Stun better than Greatsword Stun? No, well, depends. I mean, for single target, Greatsword Stun is better. The advantage of the Spear Stun is that you can hit multiple targets with it. So you might swap out Stunning Blow for Ascending Cleave just so you can hit multiple targets. It's not going to last as long though. So you'd have to be careful about the follow-up. Where do you play this version of the Spear, KR, or test server? This is Korea. Problem is the hit chance is bad with SNS Spear. The hit chance is kind of bad, although, yeah, because you would run Juno's Spear with it. You wouldn't run Shackle. Shackle Spear has like 180 hit, which is really nice, but you wouldn't run that. You would run Juno's, probably, if you could afford it. Although I think Juno Spear is going to be expensive. So you'll probably end up running Shackles anyways, just because you won't be able to afford Junos. So that you'll get some hit from that. Runes. You'll get some hit from your runes. Might be a struggle beyond that. Might be a struggle to get enough hit beyond that. Do you know if heavy attack evasion works as evasion? Works more like endurance? No, heavy attack evasion just means that you're reducing your opponent's heavy attack chance. You don't actually dodge the heavy attack. So when this says, they really shouldn't call it evasion. I don't know why they do. When this says 100 heavy attack evasion, this basically means minus 100 evasion or minus 100 heavy attack. Decreases chance of taking double damage from melee heavy attacks. For every 10 points, chance decreases by 1%. See, that's all it does. It takes your enemies, if your enemy has heavy, has 500 heavy, now they only have 400 heavy. That's what that means. Kind of underwhelming. But then again, 100 endurance would be kind of underwhelming too if you just looked at it in a vacuum. It's actually probably good. It's probably point for point worth more than endurance. So maybe not that underwhelming. What are spear passives? It's got some pretty interesting ones. Let me finish going through the active skills first. Still got a couple more to look at. So, Cyclonic Fury. Quickly attack 5 times. Each attack applies weakened burst. Okay, so here's where you get your burst stacks. You gotta use this skill. Alright, that's pretty sick. That actually lands 5 times. Yeah, so some of these skills would definitely synergize with bonus damage. We can change it to the Ignite version. Before we do that, increase damage against enemies with stun, sleep, bind, collision, fear effects by 20%. Increase critical damage by 15% for 3 seconds. This makes sense as a buff. This makes sense because you would use this as a precursor to one of your burst finishers. So you would like use this to get burst stacks. And then you would use Rising Slash to get a big hit. Yeah, like look at that, hitting for 3k with a gray weapon. With level 1 skills. So that's probably pretty good damage. What about the fire version? Stabs 10 times. Oh, okay. That's it. Only 10 times. Each attack deals 78 plus base damage. Inflicts ignites. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Oh, it's a... Oh, okay. Okay. I've seen people using this one. So, it's probably not hitting them 10 times unless they're right in front of you. It looks like it's spread out a little bit. I don't even think it hit this dummy once, even though he was in the arc. Let's try that again. Maybe it can't pierce. Do you think that's what was happening? By the way, look at this basic attack range. Did you guys see that? Look how far away I'm hitting this from. That's so sick. That's so much better than Greatsword. Okay, so if I do this... Yeah, I got some ignite stacks on this guy and this guy. Interesting. So it's definitely not hitting everyone in there 10 times, but I guess it could. If they're standing in just the right place, they could get hit 10 times. But it seems like it kind of spreads it out. And then, because of all those stacks, you could, I mean, honestly, you could still finish it with Rising Slash, or what else? What else is like a really good spender? I don't really know what you're supposed to use once you have a bunch of burst stacks, other than Rising Slash. Like, what's the... Is there another big finishing skill? I don't really feel like there is. You can use it to spam Brutal Fury, but this is so buggy. Like, I don't even think it really works. Okay, so let's see. We get our stacks going. And then... Yeah, it's so buggy, it doesn't work. Like, it literally does not work. We'll see if it's different in NA. Maybe it's just a ping problem. But the burst finishers don't even do what they say they do. I'm supposed to be able to use this 3 additional times. Maybe it's just a bad translation? Do they just mean 3 extra hits? Okay, 5 burst stacks. No, that doesn't look like it got 3 extra hits. Yeah, I don't know. The burst versions of these skills seem like they just don't work. So, nice QA. So it looks like this one is kind of like your opener that you use to get the stacks and to buff a big hit that's going to follow. You would stun them, get a little bit of conditional damage, get the buff up and running, get some ignite stacks, and then you would blow them up with Rising Slash or something. A greatsword skill. And then the last 2 skills, pretty straightforward. Cataclysm stops people from blocking. And then it has an add-on to where if they're in the middle of blocking already, it'll change it to a wrath attack and it'll stun them. So if you have like a shield turtling SNS, you can take this and then it'll just break their block and stun them, which is kind of sick. That's kind of sad. I think that's going to be really good in Arena. And then what's this one? Dashes to the targets. Only deals damage to monsters. Chance to inflict weaken. Okay, actually, that's kind of... For Greatsword, a dash that prevents people from blocking. Okay. I mean, it does no damage, but now you're on them and they can't block. Pretty good. And then, of course, we got the capstone skill, Death from Above. You would take this, you would take this. Would you take the skill damage boost? 30 for 3 seconds equal to the number of targets. Oh yeah, you would take all this. You would take it all. You would take everything. You would, if you're going to take this skill, you're going to juice it up fully. Yeah, because the fear chance is super low until you get it maxed out. And then... I'm gonna get you. It does put a giant purple beam in the sky, so you're not gonna surprise anyone with this skill. But, you know, if they're out of stamina, or if you've already debuffed them with Cataclysm so that they can't block, then they're just gonna eat that. I see Spear only working in PvP with Greatsword and Wands. No, it's definitely gonna work with Dagger and SNS. It's not blockable, but you can dodge it. You could still roll dodge it, yeah. Yeah. But they would have to know that you were going to do that, and they would have to roll. If someone's just sitting there holding their block, which a lot of tanks do, then they're probably not going to roll. If you're not a tank in the first place, I think damage negation is better than survivability. Dagger stealth is way better than anything Greatsword has. Depends on your goal. Greatsword is still a single target weapon. It's always going to be a single target weapon. So if you're using the spear, you can get a little bit more AoE to go along with your Greatsword. But the Greatsword, you know, to the extent that you're using the Greatsword, you're still using it for single target. It's not going to be a large scale weapon, ever. AI Morlin? Oh god, that'd be great. I could finally take a vacation. Is there anyone testing Greatsword Spear? Yeah, I'm sure lots of people are doing it. Want to run Greatsword Spear, can't find any real information on it. Well, it just came out, so it's going to be a bit. Yeah, I think for Greatsword Spear, you would play it similar to the way that you play Greatsword Dagger. You'd replace the stealth with Sentinel. You'd place Shadow Strike with Death from Above. You would replace Willbreaker or Smokescreen with Cataclysm. You'd replace Moonlight Cleaving and Valiant Brawl with Javelin Inferno and Explosive Fury. And then playstyle would be pretty similar, honestly. It'd just be a different set of passives, and you know, your bind combo is going to be a little bit crunchier. You're going to have to rely more on precision dash to bind people. You could try to fit this skill in too. This also binds. This pulls people and binds them. You could try to use this to set up your Ascending Slash. So you could play it similar to a Greatsword Dagger. We'll have to play around with it and see how it feels. They're adding all rarities of Spear. I'll be able to craft greens with quality lithographs. Yeah, you'll be able to craft a green spear. And there's a lithograph book. So I looked at this earlier. Four blues to get a purple. I didn't see a lot of lithographs to get the blues, though. Like, I don't actually know if there is one. Because there's not that many green spears. For whatever reason, they just didn't bother. So, like, normally you can put in 4 of the greens and get a blue. I don't know if you can do that with spear. I went and got a bunch of green lithographs thinking that surely we'd be able to do that, but I don't know. Maybe they'll add it later. Everyone I'm seeing is either dagger or bow with spear. I think bow with spear is throwing a little bit. Flip through the stream if you've not already done so. Can you go over how to obtain each of the new spears? Yeah, that'll be easy. So there's Juno's Spear, which you get from killing Juno. There's Shaikle's Spear. Can you see Juno? Yeah, you can't see Juno's here because there's no litho for it. But Juno's Spear you get from killing Juno, and that's the one that has Fortitude, max health, and it'll make your Blood Leech aura do extra damage. It basically creates a circle of fire around you. Very lit for SNS players. It can work for Dagger too, though. You've got the Bellendir Spear, just like any other Bellendir weapon. You get it from Bellendir. Probably not going to be an option for most people. Heroic Spear of the Resistance is just like every other heroic weapon. You can get this with 1,500 contract coins. You can get this from filling up the litho log. You can get it probably just from drops. Yeah, you can just get it from like Shattered Temple mobs. Or you can do the litho book to get one right away. And then the Beheading Spear drops from Shadow Crypts. So this will probably be in the Abyssal Coin box right away. So if you want to make money tomorrow, if you have Abyssal Coins, you should have been saving them. I've been talking about this all week. Hopefully you guys listened. If this is in the Abyss box, it's already in the box in Korea. It's probably going to be in our box too. You can just buy these right away as soon as the servers come up and sell the traits or sell the lithos if they're worth it, or use it for yourself. And then Shaikle's Spear you get from Cursed Wasteland. So same thing. You can get lucky and get this to drop from Cursed Wasteland, or you can just craft it the same way that you craft any other dungeon weapon. 2-dimensional essences. Those are for sure the ones that we're going to be able to get. These are all the T1 spears, plus Juno's Spear is not here, but yeah, those are your options. which attacks are considered heavy. Heavy attack just means double damage. So it's kind of like what's usually called crit in other games. In this game, a crit just means you're rolling your maximum damage. A heavy attack means you're actually doing bonus damage. You're doing double damage. And it's just a chance that you can get. The more heavy attack chance, the more chance that you will do double damage. It's not tied to any specific attack. Another melee weapon to shit on me with in Arena. That is correct. Yeah, if you are playing Arena without melee evasion, you're already losing. If you do it after this patch, you're losing extra. You are extra losing. Are both omnipotent skills useful? They are, actually. Yeah, both omnipotent skills are useful. I haven't seen... There's only like 1 or 2 spear skills that look useless to me. Maybe 3. But yeah, both the omnipotent skills are useful. This one blocks people from parrying. And this one is the AoE jump/fear. The fear chance starts off really low. So if you're going to spend your books, you probably want to spend it on Death from Above. Can you craft a spear? You can craft Scheichel's spear, and you can kind of craft the beheading spear. I mean, you can just open up a box. Not really crafting, but yeah, you can make it. Can we craft from dungeon tokens? Yes. Unless they delay it for some reason, you should be able to craft Scheichel's spear right off the bat with dungeon tokens. Tier 1 dungeon tokens. What will you go for? Greatsword Spear or Dagger Spear? Probably Dagger Spear. I'm going to try to make Greatsword Spear work, though. We're going to play around with it a bit and see if we can make it work. Go PvP. This is the Korean server, and I have no way of PvPing on a spear. I don't have any of the right gear for it, so that's not going to happen. Remember seeing a spear that feared 2 targets on a 25% chance. Guessing it was the Juno one? No, Juno doesn't fear. Juno gives you extra damage on Blood Leech Aura. That's probably just an old data mine that you saw. There was spear stuff data mine months ago. That's probably all been changed now. Cam off? Yeah, no, my OBS is bugged. I can't use the camera right now. All right, boys. Well, I can't stay on late today. I did want to get on and go over spear and go over substance transformation with you guys. There was a lot of info in today's stream. If you guys came late, I recommend you hop over on YouTube and jump around the VOD a little bit, because we covered a ton of info for tomorrow's patch today that I think is going to be very useful. We talked about runes. We talked about substance transformation. We talked about how if you're going to do substance transformation, you probably only want to do accessories. And I explained all the rationale behind that, and the rationale behind potentially not doing material transformation at all and waiting for a later patch. So a lot of information in today's stream, but I can't stay on too late. I will be on all day tomorrow. We'll have a really long stream tomorrow. I'll probably be on for like 8+ hours. I'm going to be starting early in the morning, so I will see you guys then. Any build ready? No, I haven't had time to make a build, but maybe I'll put something together later tonight and put it on Questlog. I have the beginning of a spear build on Questlog, but we don't actually have the spear stuff implemented on Questlog yet, so I don't know when it's going to be ready. We might just have to use the NC soft version of Questlog. But that's all I got today, boys. So I will be there tomorrow early on. And we'll do a whole thing. We'll do a whole thing. What NA server do I play? I'm on the Chernobog server. All right, let's go raid somebody. Again, sorry for the short stream today, but we covered a lot. We went over every spear skill. I'm still learning the spear stuff, but I think we got a good overview of what it can do. And it looks like our boy Revik is also looking at spear on global, so I will send you guys over to him. I'm sure he will be doing a deep dive. Old school Throne player from the Korean servers, playing NA with us in our guild now. So Revik knows a lot about the game. He's been around for a long time. He knows a lot about Greatsword Dagger, which means he's going to be thinking about how to use Spear with Dagger, and he's going to be thinking about how to use Spear with Greatsword. So go check him out, and I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, boys.